All of them as well. What a move to the 48. Oh, look at this. And onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Well, it is time to end the triple header to open the season here at the British Formula 4 Esports Championship as we head for our third consecutive week of racing. This time it's to Norfolk and it is to Snetterton, the 300 layout. Yet another one of these classic English circuits made from an old Air Force base back in the 1950s. It's a fantastic track. It's a tricky track, one with lots of complex corners. It's myself, Lewis McGlade, and Cam Rogers to take you through the evening once again. We love this. We've got the Formula 1600s. We've got the Formula 4s coming up. We should be in for a lot of fun, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 races, so plenty of action, and especially from what we saw at Donington last week, so much fun. All the overtakes, all the side-by-sides, and a lot of race strategy as well with when you want to hit the front with how the slipstream works in this car. So yeah, really looking forward to another circuit. It's going to be quite a tricky one once again.
Yeah, of course, you know, this circuit does deliver in all of that difficulty, especially in the Formula 1600, which will be up first. 2 races and the qualifying session. Qualifying presently underway. We'll see how that is unfolding in a moment's time. Of course, we'll get into the first of those 2 races, 15 minutes of those. Then we'll get the reverse grid draw, the spinny wheel. We all love it. And then we'll be taking a little bit of a break from the Formula 1600 before we get into the British Formula 4's qualifying and race. And then we'll come back for the second race in the Formula 1600, of course, that one being the reverse grid race. Here is the calendar. Like I said, it was a triple header to start out the season. We begun at Brands Indy, went to Donington National, and now we're at the Snetterton 300 before we take a couple of week break. Alton Park International will be up after the break before we go to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuits to Knockhill, which will be a challenge for most. Great track before we end at Donington Park Grand Prix and Brands Hatch Grand Prix at the end of the season. Another triple header to end things. Here are things in the points standings after the both race victories at Donington Park from Henry Moore. Now looking really strong in the championship, 39 points ahead of Ciro Zambra. Dana Moore did not have a particularly solid experience in the circuit in the Leicestershire. Of course, Jason Cooper also keeping in 4th position, a point behind Dan and Moore. All of them, Cam, are losing significant ground, though, to Henry Moore at the top of the standings. They might well be getting a little bit of concern on them, but of course, long season, still 6 rounds and plenty of time to claw that gap back.
Yeah, a lot of races, but the gap is starting to get to that point where you're getting a bit concerned, aren't you? So almost that 40-point mark. So yeah, this is squeaky bum time for the drivers. The next couple of rounds here at Snetterton and then Alton, they really need to try and focus on getting those points on the board, because otherwise Henry Moore will be so comfortable he can sort of relax a little bit and even just finish inside the top 5.
Let's take a look at that around the circuit. Of course, one of the longer ones on the calendar, coming out of the final corner at Murray's and onto the Senna Straight. Slightly shorter from memory than the Bentley Straight, which runs over the back end of the circuit. Quite quick up towards turn 1 at Riches. It's a very tricky corner. It is possible to make a move into here, but it's more about setting this corner up. Bit of a downshift there, throwing it into the corner. Obviously, you are going to pick up a lot of understeer, a lot of oversteer. You want to pick up that second apex, the one that's a bit further around the corner before continuing on this run down towards the Wilson hairpin. Of course, it was originally called the Montreal hairpin, but named after the late Justin Wilson, who comes from the area up towards Palmer. There will be so much side-by-side through here on lap 1. Such an easy corner to try and send one around the outside, but the track falls away from you very quickly indeed. Down towards Agostini, my favourite overtaking opportunity on the circuit. But you have to be brave to do so. It's a lot faster of a hairpin than you would expect. You carry the speed into the corner, you're trail braking your way in. Also going for a little bit of a slide as you race on the exit of the corner up towards Hamilton's extremely fast left-hander when it comes to full-blown commitment. But it's more about setting up the next corner after. You've got to pull it back over to the left-hand side of the circuit before we get into Oggies, and then head through this right-hander, and then the next one of Williams out onto that Bentley Straight. Must get this corner well. Get the good drive off. Don't use the curb too much on the exit. It will slow your run. You can use a touch, but once you dip 2 wheels into that grass and that gravel, it will just pull you out onto the left-hand side. You can't really get it back over to the right until you're most of the way down the Bentley Straight. Once we get down there, big commitment into Brundle. Hold your breath as we go under the bridge, the only bridge that connects the outside of the circuit to the inside. Going through Brundle into Nelson, up towards Bombhole. Was quite wide there, and we will see a lot of drivers taking the excursions on the exit of that Nelson corner through Bombhole. As brave as you can, trying to keep it as close to pinned as possible before we head through Coram. Coincidentally, by the way, the run from Nelson all the way to Murray's is the exact same length as the run from Murray's down towards Riches. The final corner to the Firs. It is a tricky section of right-handers all the way round to end the lap. That final left-hander on Murray's takes us out into the start-finish straight. It is a tricky circuit. It is a long circuit, but it is one where if you are brave and comfortable in the car, you can take an awful lot of lap time out on your competitors.
Yeah, the gap's going to be way bigger here, I would expect, compared to the previous couple of rounds, especially back at Brands Indy is basically 4 corners. Donington National as well. Realistically, in terms of effective corners at the track, there aren't too many. It's all Groves there going for a spin at the hairpin there. And as we see actually on the sheets there, look at the gap. So we've got Henry Moore already with a 3/10 advantage to second place, but we're already down to 1 second for pretty much the top 5.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a long circuit. It's one we expect to see the larger gaps. I'm maybe not expecting to see, half a second for that pole position, but I'm certainly expecting to see slightly more than what we've seen in the previous rounds. So the first round at Brands Indy, it was 0.042 between first and second, and then it was 0.3 of a second at Donington National. When I was speaking to Henry Moore about it, he wasn't quite sure as to how the gap was that large. He thought it wasn't even a good enough lap time for pole position. Right now, sitting on a very similar margin to Dan Amore behind, who's looking to have a much better qualifying than he did at Donington National.
Yeah, he's certainly looking to be the class of the field, though. Interesting that you say he mentioned he thought his lap at Donington might not be good enough for pole. I wonder if he's going to feel that today. Of course, coming into his second lap, they get a couple of laps in the session, and it looks like drivers once again going to set their laps early. Still 4 minutes to go, but a lot of the drivers might finish their lap count by the time we get to the minutes there. And now through these final couple of corners, these are the high commitment ones. Let's see just how much Kirby's willing to use all the way to the inside, trying to keep it tight to open up this final corner and try and get the run to the line. Oh, sideways on the brakes as well. Yeah,
not the most typical line through Coram. You won't see that in GTs, touring car stuff. You want the car to wash out. You might even see it in the British Formula 4s later on. See what Henry Moore does across the line. See if there's going to be any improvement. The answer to the question is yes, but it's not going to be good enough for pole. It is now good enough for pole as we see that timing tower update. That's actually very, very tight. Got some very bad news from Henry Moore earlier on today. Turns out he's a Chelsea fan, so suddenly I'm no longer in support of him. Yeah, that's it. You can't laugh, Cameron Roger. Manchester United, get out of here. Anyway, we won't talk about any of that. We've still got 3.5 minutes left of this qualifying session left to go. Dan Moore, Henry Moore, final laps of their qualifying session, I think, kind of being wrapped up there. And I've got to say, impressive lap time from Henry Moore, but more so from those behind. They managed to close that gap on that second run.
Yeah, especially for Dan Moore after the disappointing race that he had last time around, or the 2 races as such. This will be some very nice opportunities to get the points back. And of course, Jason Cooper, who's been ever strong. He's probably been, aside from Henry Moore, probably been the most consistent one in this championship so far, and really looking to continue that as he works his way through towards the end of this qualifying session. 2/10 off the pole position as it stands. There's still half a lap to go.
The big question is, where in all of this is Ciro Zambra? Am I blind?
He's not here.
There we go.
I remember.
Oh, he did say last round. He did say last round. Yes, because I asked him about how he felt about Snetterton. You're absolutely right. I'm just that forgetful.
Yeah, well, a lot of people get interviewed. It's easy to forget exactly what they say. But yeah, for Zambra, unfortunately not here today. Second in the championship, and he's only got a couple of points to Dan Moore and Jason Cooper behind, so he's really going to be losing some positions there. But he said he was still focusing to get that second place, potentially with the final couple of races as Cooper comes through these final couple of corners. Now, all misses the apex, has to correct there. That's going to slow him down a bit coming onto this front straight. Yeah, not getting the drive onto the centre straight as well as possible as we head through the timing tower there on the left-hand side. Jason Cooper will come up towards the line. I'm not sure there'll be any major improvement. 57.135 will not see him any further up the order, so sat behind that 56.8. Ettridge will come across the line and move himself inside the top 10 before Whittle is the next one to move himself inside the top 10. 10 drivers all within a second around here, which I would say, to be honest, not that bad, considering how the circuit is when it comes to its length. Absolutely, and even then the next sort of 9 drivers, 11th to 9th, only 4/10, so more there sliding as Afri Palmer, Palmer just getting the rear end a little bit wrong there. 1 minute to go in the session, he's not going to have enough time to do another lap, so that'll be him. Best place of second so far. Here's Cooper, so he got another lap in him. Tompkins as well inside the top 4, both those drivers trying to continue. Knowles up into 8th place.
And Tompkins, I thought was very interesting when we were chatting to him last round, as we see the return of Sikorsky getting inside that top 5 with a 4th place qualifying at the moment. Tompkins did not have a good start to the season, finished 10th and then retired. And then, of course, Donington was finishing 2nd and 3rd and was looking really, really strong. Included a great qualifying session as well. Finished that qualifying in 2nd. Also had a couple of dramas back in Brands Indy. Fair enough, is what it is. We were kind of wondering, is that which one's more typical? Was it more the Brands Indy result, or was it the Donington Park result? I think what we're seeing is it was definitely the Donington result. Like, again, qualifying inside that top 5 for the 3rd consecutive round. It's showing that Adam Tompkins is certainly one of the drivers to try and fight for that. Basically, is it fight for 2nd in the championship already? Surely not.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he's only 19 points off 2nd in the championship so far, so he can definitely probably challenge for that over the next few races. But yeah, sometimes that's just how it goes with the format that we've got, especially if you miss out on that reverse grid and stuff such like that in the first race, it becomes very, very difficult as this session comes to an end. It's going to be Henry Moore, but yeah, definitely it's going to be a season about consistency, and we've still got 6 rounds to go.
Certainly so. Well, yet another almost impeccable qualifying session there from Henry Moore. Could he be aiming for the double once more? Takes his 3rd consecutive pole position and starts from the front. Dan Moore, though, with a season best performance to get onto that front row, now will start 1/10 behind Henry Moore. Jason Cooper in 3rd. Frank Sikorsky on the return to the championship with Adam Tompkins inside the top 5. Daniel Caulfield will start from 6th place. Martin Vilk will start from 7th with Ed Hope starting from 8th. Cameron Knowles and Ronnie Smith at the back end of the top 10 after some solid pace in the previous round. Owen Whittle and Simon Ball continuing on that performance, trying to work out a little bit better, but unfortunately going a bit slower than at Donington Park. Oliver Ettridge and Jack Badger 13th and 14th with William Hope, Crispin Williamson, and then we've got Brandon Loudon and Jordan Groves in 18th position. These drivers all being outside of a second to pole position. Matthew Crisp, Mac Mafakwa, Aaron Mensah and Isaac Phelps starting from the rear of the field after not setting a lap time in the qualifying sessions. Big shame for him. Obviously had a couple of rounds being inside the top 10 in qualifying. This one not going quite as strong. Does have a lot of penalties to his name. In fact, has lost 5 points this championship courtesy of penalties. That is more than anyone else can.
Yeah, and they are the silly points to be given away. But it's certainly, some nice racing action coming your way, and hopefully we get the drivers producing some nice side-by-side action. But the first lap around here is always very tight, so especially in this sort of 1st, 2nd sector, really look out in those hairpins for some contact.
Well, Dannemore will take into that second position. Of course, is looking for a much better run than they had at Donington Park. It was a bit of a struggle back then. No podiums to their name before starting out the season. Of course, with that race victory in the second race of the championship and a podium in the very first. They have to work their way up from that position. Certainly can race this Formula 1600 car. We'll see if he can take on Henry Moore, who'll start this one from pole position for the third consecutive time in the season. They are underway with that run down towards Riches for the first time. Clean launches from all inside that top 10, top 20. The entire grid getting off nice and clean. Better start though from Jason Cooper. Is going to try and get around the outside of Dannemore heading through that first corner of Riches. Big sends in the background, but nothing too major. I think the drivers likes of Ronnie Smith are trying to work their way up in the early stages.
Yeah, the only one I really saw is Cofield dropping back just a little bit there, and that 72 machine on the outside. He's now got the 13 machine of Cam Knowles, trying to go side by side through the hairpin up towards Palmer's for the first time. Evans got to make sure they get through this corner rather nicely, side by side there in the midfield as well. They continue going on as that is Knowles, I think, just getting squeezed out for that 8th place.
Ooh, a couple of spinners and stuff in the background. I think Crispin Williamson is involved in that. Simon Ball also having some problems in the background. Cameron Knowles going out a little bit wide. A couple of side-by-side moments up here. Sikorsky, Tompkins. Tompkins having a little bit of a look down the inside of Sikorsky coming up the run towards Hamilton. This is a look at Jason Cooper. He's presently sat in that third position at the moment. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. That was on the back of Tompkins. That was Martin Vilk just making a contact with the rear. Thankfully, comes out all right as Ronnie Smith works his way past Ed Hope.
Yeah, I think they're actually lucky these cars don't start with the front wing, because if he had, it might have gone under the car and caused some issues there. But fortunately, with that contact, they continue side by side. Now down the back straight, this is Cofield, really dropped down. He was in about 8th place on the grid. Now he's down into 15th, losing another one coming in towards Brundle. Side by side, just up ahead of them as well. I think that's Etridge trying to make a position. But once again, Cofield losing a place, going backwards on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really it's not a normal overtaking spot unless you are exceptionally brave. Going down into Brundle. But having a chat with a couple of these drivers, they were saying that this will probably be one of the hardest circuits to pass at, despite having some enormous straights. I can't remember exactly how far it is, but I think it's something like, from memory, it's about 760 metres is the start-finish straight, is the centre straight, and I think it's something closer to 800 for the run down the Bentley straight. The problem is, though, is they lean into some very fast corners. Obviously Brundle into Nelson, and then this one up towards Riches. Such a fast corner. It's so hard to get an overtake done into here. You have to prepare it into the next corner, as we can see Ronnie Smith now working his way past Martin Vilk. Smith's got the overtakes done, that's for sure, starting from, what was it, 10th position, now up to 7th already, 6th already.
Oh, is he going to have an attack, though, up the inside? Is Vilk going to be able to come back? No, not quite. Just about holding on. Actually gets good exit, though, as we're almost going to be potentially look at 3 wide down towards Palmer's corner, as Smith should be able to hold on to that one. They've got a little bit of a gap just forming up ahead. He's up the inside there. Vilk once again having to look in his mirrors as Ed Hope coming up the inside. Grass being kicked up as they're starting to push the limits once again, but Smith certainly making some moves. Just got to be looking out for the gap up ahead. Of course, the reverse grid is top 5 to 10, so just got to make sure you're keeping yourself in these positions, and you have that hope for the reverse grid places when we get to the spinny wheel after this race so far. But definitely, it looks like you can overtake as well. Once again, Smith all over the grass, but you really have to work for it around here.
I think Ronnie Smith's really channeling rather the inner potential touring car driver in that by just blasting over the track as if they're not even there. Once again, out wide. I said you can't do that. I mean, if you're going to go out wide going onto the Bentley straight, you will almost certainly lose a position. That is exactly what's going to happen to Ronnie Smith. Martin Vilk's going to work his way through, potentially Ed Hope as well, both trying to freight train their way around the outside. Ronnie Smith sends it back in as they head through Brundle, now into Nelson. The outside line will go the way of Ronnie Smith. That is brilliantly held from Smith, working their way back around the outside through Nelson, now into bomb hole, side by side behind all of that. Ed Hope, Jack Badger trying to get to the inside. Whittle is the one that's presently there, and Jack Badger has absolutely nowhere to go.
Wow, awesome racing here as Snetterton in towards the final corner at Murray's, and they're all changed once again. Also, we have is Loudon just dropping back, having some problems there now into 19th place. Is onto the front straightaway once again. Look at the absolute train of cars there. They're trying to work their way in towards their positions, but they're going to continue fighting. So Smith and Vilk in towards turn 1, but in behind, look at this. Well, Whittle got Hope up the inside as well, trying to make a move there, side by side through Ritchie's. That is a very brave move up towards the hairpin, though. This is really where you make the overtake. This is the braking zone, the hard braking zone. Send down the inside there. That's way too late on the brakes, and it's actually, he's managed to make a move in the front. Vilk's already had an issue.
What is happening there? Yeah, Vilk was obviously in that battle with Ronnie Smith as they were coming through. We just saw Vilk backwards, so not 100% sure what has happened in that. Ed Hope also getting involved in all of that, and that will be a retirement for Martin Vilk, unfortunately, from the race. The first one to stick onto the list. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. You got Isaac Phelps and Cam Knowles going side by side. We'll take another little look at all of this. That was an insane send from Jack Badger. It kind of channeled the was it 2015 Scotty McLaughlin send on Frosty at Surface Paradise. The absolute accident to the unbelievable send. Kind of looked like Vilk was sending it in too hard himself.
Yeah, and then when the wheels, because obviously the wheels stick out so much on these cars, when the wheels get locked and that sort of stuff, very difficult. Let's see this once again. Got Vilk here in the sort of yellow and blue machine with the red wheels up the inside. It's going to be a little bit of a very late move actually up the inside, and I think just maybe locked the rears on his own. Not sure if there was actually contact there. He was quite far on the inside, just wasn't able to get it slowed. But then, to be fair, he was way too late to be making that move.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's kind of that's the kind of move we'll see a lot around Snetterton, especially in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, which will be coming up. Oh, there's been problems for one Hope. Now there's problems for the second. Whoa! That was close to the rejoin, and there's more drama up ahead of that. Caulfield squeezing over the nose of Chris, coming up towards Coram, saying, "You're not going to pass me like that, sir." Although potentially there might be some damage on Caulfield's car, because it did look like it was either very close to a hit or there was significant contact there with William Hope.
Oh, as we got this down the front straight, drivers trying to work their way towards turn one up at Ritchie. Side by side is going to be Phelps has that position. Whittle just having to drop back, but in the background you've got Groves and Knowles going side by side. We've also got Mafarquhar on the inside trying to make it 3 wide in towards the braking zone, and he actually, oh no, this is a late move once again from that 13 machine of Knowles. Manages to just about get that position up there past Whittle and Groves once again. It just seems like these guys just haven't calmed down. They're all side by side still now coming through Palmer. So to be a big move up the inside of for Groves once again. Is it all in the foreground there? More cars going off.
Yeah, that was Whittle going out wide. Jordan Groves now taking the defensive line from Cameron Knowles. This is towards the back end of the top 10. Those final spots to be reversed. They are important, those final points paying positions as well. This is going to be 3 wide up towards Hamilton. Not quite, because I think like McFarquhar and Cameron Knowles all kind of backing out of that one. Is absolutely crazy. There's McFarquhar going around the outside of Caulfield over the inside as they head into Oggies. There's contact and a spin there from Owen Whittle, who's just trying to push a little bit too hard through the middle of it. It was always going to be ending in dramatic fashion for someone. And by the way, if you're all getting panicked that maybe we'll miss something up towards the front, do not worry. Connery Maddock, broadcast director, is keeping an eye on everything. Head on a swivel in crazy races like this. You've got to be quick.
Oh, and these points are important as well. Maybe not for the championship hump, but for the places a bit further down. Side by side once again in towards Brundles, as Knowles just having to back out of that one, and McFarquhar is following in behind to him. There's also slightly a side by side battle, as of course we're seeing Caulfield in that 72, the blue machine, just trying to work his way up from a bit of a disastrous lap 1, as this is absolutely crazy. Sends up the inside that crisp, and Loudon trying to have a side by side battle. We don't often see this through Coram. In towards the final corner, Murray sliding on the rear end, pushing each other, further contact as he's trying to go all the way around the outside now onto the front straight.
That was quite aggressive from Loudon there to try and get past Chris. Again, more touring car-esque moves with that. But yeah, you just cannot take your eyes off of this battle at the moment. It is enthralling. I think this is I think that was more of what the point was when it comes to overtaking, is that it's not insanely difficult to overtake round here. It's hard to overtake without losing too much time, and to stop your competitor having a good run at you into the next corner, as that certainly won't help for Brandon Loudon going out way wide. Matthew Crisp will come straight back through as McFarquhar and Caulfield switch positions, as does Ettridge and Knowles going up into Palm. But that's what it's more about though, isn't it, Cam? It's about stopping your opponent from getting one up under you again.
And I think that's why we've seen the top two of Moore and Dan and Moore not battling, because you just end up doing this. You lose each other time. But it is very entertaining side by side for 2 pairs. As we come up towards the Hamilton Kinks, side by side is very difficult for the corners to have to back out to that one. Ettridge just gets holds on to that position from Knowles. Here's McFarquhar diving it though in towards Oggies, as this is a very important corner, of course, onto this back straight. So you've got to be very careful where the drivers, they're just seemingly trying to overtake at every single corner possible, as that's a bad run onto this back straight.
Yeah, certainly so. It was a slow one there from Ettridge, and so Knowles will have the speed, will have the advantage, will have the pace coming up towards Brundle. Big commitment around the outside. If you can make it stick, it'll give the inside for Nelson. A little bit of grass being kicked up from Cam Knowles. Now will pick up that 10th position, working their way straight through. Chops off the nose of the 57 of Oliver Ettridge. Now Mac McFarquhar's going to work their way through, coming down into bomb hole. Give them the inside run, potentially going through Coram, but I'm not sure they'll want to really commit to that move. We've seen a couple try, including Caulfield, who's trying to get to the inside of Ettridge, heading into that that final complex. And you've got that outside run coming from Matthew Crisp, who's going to get done by Brandon Loudon once again in that section of corners, it looks.
But this is 7 cars battling onto this front straight as we come out inside the final 5 minutes of this first race for the 1600s, coming towards turn number 1. Ettridge just holding on, but look in behind. Ettridge just getting that move, I should say. Big contact there, might be in towards Rich Heath. They finally get themselves into some sort of order, as Will Hope just losing out from that one. Caulfield and Crisp get him up towards the hairpin, though. Once again, late braking between all of them. They always look just towards the inside and have a bit of a think. Unfortunately, just find enough place for themselves. Badger gets past Phelps, though, in towards Palmer's. God, these guys are overtaking absolutely everywhere on this track. They continue side by side in towards the braking zone of Agostini, as you say. Lewis, a very wide open sort of hairpin, and Badger's going to have to back out of that one on the outside.
Yeah, might go for the up and under coming up towards Hamilton, but I don't really recommend that one. By the way, in that fight for 10th place, kind of got to speak a little bit about that, because obviously for some drivers, so for Ettridge, for Oliver Ettridge, first point of the season, potentially there. For likes of Mac McFarquhar, first point of the season, potentially there. Big send down the inside of Cameron Knowles, who's looking for a 3rd point of the season, but it'll be the 3rd time finishing in that 10th position. So a lot of them fighting over, yes, it seems like very small things, but all these small things add up, and that's before you even consider about it being in that reverse grid. Brandon Loudon, by the way, is the highest one of the challenge winners group, 7th place.
This is awesome battle once again in towards Brundles. No one's going to try and go around the outside there, which is probably a good idea as it stands. Very interesting battles are coming. It's awesome to actually see that we've seen a little bit of sort of contacts in that, but in the last few laps we haven't seen any crashes. They've really just been having some nice aggressive battles as come up in towards the final couple of laps of this race. Just over 3 minutes to go so far. Here's McFarquhar in this 12th place in the luminous green machine. He's got Knowles in behind, but with Crisp and Caulfield not too far, all slipstreaming each other. Down towards turn number 1, though, it's going to be Phelps continuing that battle with Badger. Badger sends it up the inside there, almost been a contact between the two. Hard, aggressive racing. He seems to have made that position, but can he hold it in towards the braking zone? That is the important bit around here. Brace slightly earlier, but he has the track position up the inside to complete that move.
Yeah, and I don't want to be... it feels really harsh to say this, but these are 2 of the higher point scorers on our list, and I don't mean championship points. I mean penalty points. Isaac Phelps is the leader in that category with 5. Jack Badger's joint with quite a lot of people 3rd with 3 penalty points. It's only Mac McFarquhar, by the way, who's got a more than that. But still, involved in that fight, yes, I know it's a small thing, but my point being is that they've both picked up penalty points. They don't really want to pick any more up in contact with each other.
Yeah, it's not the... you don't get a record for getting the most penalty points, because unfortunately they're minus points. So definitely something you want to avoid as much as you can throughout the championship, as we always say, every point counts. Here's Badger, though, on to the Bentley straight here. A bit of bum drafting there, pushing his rival Phelps just up ahead. We're going to be coming up to 1 lap to go in this race at the stripe. Of course, still about a quarter of this lap to go in towards this very fast Brundle sequence in towards Nelson. Got to slow down for that very big anti-cut on the inside, but he seems to be getting through nicely. Not obviously looking to overtake through this part of the track, but needs to set him up for the final lap. That is just coming. Caulfield and Hope having a battle in behind. Bull's got the pair of them actually. So they've obviously had some sort of issues as they started to spread out. Here is the final lap though. Henry Moore leading the way.
Yeah, we've not seen this battle at all this race, because Dana Moore's been sat behind and sitting comfortable. The run into Riches for the final time. Dana Moore is going to try and attack for the race lead. Henry Moore presently holds it, looking at his 4th victory of the season. Jason Cooper is in tow, yet to take a win this season. Dana Moore obviously the only one to have defeated Henry Moore. That was in the reverse grid race at Brands Indy. This time it doesn't look like it's going to work, because Jason Cooper, with the run off the Wilson hairpin to the outside going through Palmer, has got to be brave through here.
Certainly does. There's a big curb and sort of grass sequence as well, which he uses all of. Now down in towards this next hairpin around the outside. This is going to be very difficult for Cooper, but what he can do is at least slow more down onto the next sequence of corners, which he does. Around the outside, it is going to be trying to get a bit of a switchback. This is basically given Henry Moore potentially this win, but Cooper still wants to get the second place in towards Hamilton. And then Oggies, this is another good overtaking opportunity, but you've just got to hold onto the inside line for Dan and Moore. Doesn't need to. Cooper not quite close enough.
Whoa, Cooper's made a mistake as well. He's outdone himself going into Oggies. For Dan and Moore, I promise you, his chance at a race victory isn't fully done. If he nails this run of the Bentley stretch, he'll pick up the slipstream. We'll close back in. But you've got to be a brave man to try something cool into the final corner at Murray's, right? I mean, it's a move that's possible. It's just risky.
Oh, it's certainly risky, but risk is what you have to take to get these race victories. And I tell you what, he has really closed in. I know it's a braking zone and sort of happens naturally, but I'd say he's even closed in more than the Concertina effect. And the Moore now just has 2 final corners, but can he get close enough for a final dive onto the grass?
No, too deep there going through Bommel. By the way, I said that Henry Moore was a Chelsea fan. It clearly appears that Dan Moore, also on the right-hand side of your screen, is also a Chelsea fan. It's disgusting from the pair of them, but it's absolutely fine. They are going to bring it up towards the line. It is a 4th victory of the season in the Formula 1600s from Henry Moore. Once again, pole position, race victory. Even he knows what it is. 4 up towards the camera. Will there be another back-to-back result? We'll have to wait and see. Big drag race out through the final corner, though. Jack Badger trying to work his way past Isaac Phelps. These two have been close all the way through the race. It seems like they're going to be close up towards the line. It is so tight. 100th of a second from Isaac Phelps, beating out Zach Badger. Jordan Groves and Matt McFarquhar will come across the line inside the top 10. Matthew Crisp missing out by a tiny margin. He'll hope that reverse grid result is not 10.
Yeah, that will be a tricky one if you just lose it to the line. We have had some of the lower numbers actually, so maybe just by chance it might be up towards number 10, and that'll be a horrible one to lose it, as it's so important for the race result, potentially for the next time around. We will get a spinny wheel, and therefore we'll get the grid number for the reverse for the next race.
Well, here we go then. Spinny wheel, as per your request, Mr. Roger. What are we going to get? Numbers between 5 and 10 will decide the reverse grid. Oh, it might be 10. Oh, it might be 10. Oh, it is 10. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Oh, it's 7. Oh. Goodness me, it's not got very good brakes, this spinny wheel. We'll put it on that one, but that's if it had the clunk 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 as you're spinning a wheel round, then it would have stopped on the 10. Alas, we will stick with 7. I'm sure Henry Moore will be pleased with that one, which does mean that Isaac Phelps will be starting the next race from the reverse grid pole. Here's a look at the points finishes. Of course, Henry Moore taking a 4th victory. Dana Moore on the podium once again, and Jason Cooper joining them as well. Bit of a mistake late on, dropped them out of the chances of taking a race victory. Adam Tompkins and Frank Sikorsky on a return to the championship will finish in 5th. Ronnie Smith in 6th, with that tight battle as well behind. Isaac Phelps, Jack Badger separated by 100th of a second up towards the line. Isaac Phelps coming out on top in that, which does mean that Jack Badger missed out by 100th of a second. Jordan Crows and Mac McFarquhar round out the top 10 as we see those drivers that will not be reversed in the next race. Matthew Crisp, Cameron Knoll, Simon Ball, Aaron Mentor with Daniel Caulfield, of course, Whittle, Loudon and Ettridge, the drivers that finished on the lead lap. William Hope finishing a lap down. Crispin Williamson finishing in at 20th, a couple of laps down. Of course, that bonus point, by the way, will go to Jason Cooper for the fastest lap. Martin Vilk and Ed Hope taken out in that instant going into that hairpin. A few laps ago, about halfway through the race, the one down into the Wilson hairpin. Now, whilst we are here, before we get into the British Formula 4s, we don't have an interview ready from our race winner, Henry Moore, yet. But we will wait and see if they do appear, because I'm curious, Cam, as to how they'll feel about that. 4th victory of the season. Insanely consistent right now.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 races. That's a really good percentage so far. And to be honest, he just looks like the strongest driver in the field, not only from the pace-wise, but he seems to be so comfortable leading at the front in all these races and then being able to defend on the final couple of laps. I'm more possibly, could have done a little bit better in that the first couple of corners on that final lap. Into Richie's well on the outside, then again into the hairpin, but Moore just covered him off there on the inside, and that gave the opportunity for Cooper. So maybe a little bit of racecraft coming there might have helped him out, but still, Moore is just so strong, and you have to do your best to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, your timing has to be perfect to take on a driver of that caliber, it seems, at this point. But, Dan Moore, we saw from Zero Zambra about kind of weighing it up at the first round of the season as to when to attack Henry Moore. I'm sure the rest of the grid will also learn. Speaking of which, by the way, I think we're ready for interviews because I think Henry Moore is waiting for us so we can catch up with him, figure out exactly what his position was, where he was feeling about his race, and understanding exactly what it takes to win 4 of these races from 5. Henry Moore joins us. Hello, mate. Another one. That one looked comfortable or not?
I wouldn't say comfortable. I mean, Dan was on me the whole race. I had to drive perfectly. I made a few too many mistakes, but yeah, really happy with the win. Well done to Dan and Jason for the podium.
Now, when we were talking about this, before we went into the broadcast today, we were having a discussion about how this circuit is hard to pass at. Is that, once again, is that being hammered home to you now, like seeing it in the race? Was it easy to defend, but it was just about not making a mistake in the race, or did you have to really work on that defence throughout?
No, Dan played it really smart, to be fair. Just waited behind until the last couple laps where he made a few moves, but I can see why it's hard to overtake, but yeah, I mean, I just defended on the inside every corner. Not much you can really do around the outside turn 1 and 2. So, yeah.
Well, the reverse grid is 7. It was nearly 10. It was very, very nearly 10. But you've got off a little bit lightly there. So with it being 7, what's the percentage chance of going for a 4th consecutive win and a 5th in total?
No, I don't think it's very high. As you said, it's quite hard to overtake here. So I'll just do my best, try and get some decent points. And yeah, happy with the first win. That's all that really matters from now.
Well, best of luck. Get prepared for the next race and take a deep breath. Well done.
Thank you.
Here we go. A 4th win of the season from Henry Moore. Once again, looking insanely strong as things run through the championship. I think we should catch up with Dan Moore as well, finishing in 2nd position in that before we go into the British Formula 4 Esports round. Dan, what happened there? Was there any chance that you get past Henry, or was it just a mistake a little bit too late, pushing too hard, trying to find a way through?
I think it was just kind of one of those things where, at the start of the race, I just had in my head, like, Henry, so far, let's be honest, he's been really the quickest guy in this series. And I was like, he's stuck on pole, I'm 2nd. We may as well do our best to get away from the pack. I mean, Jason hung on to us as well, so it was us 3. And then I think 4th and 5th had a bit of a battle where they dropped out of tow and we could pull away a few seconds. And that gave us a little bit of leeway to battle on the last lap. But I just kind of got to my points in my head. I was just like, there's not really any point in battling that hard. It's only round 3. I had a bad Donington. So, I got to do my best to not score lower than that so I can make sure that's one of my drop rounds and just get the consistent points, really.
Has the bad Donington affected, you said it there, but has it affected how you're approaching these races, when it comes to the amount of risk you're taking? Would you think you'd be driving differently now if you hadn't had that Donington round?
Yeah, I'd probably be maybe a little bit more aggressive going for the extra 7 points for the win, but I'd still be thinking about all I need is the consistent points because everyone's going to have something happen to them in this series because it's pretty chaotic, should we say?
Certainly is. Well, you get yourself ready for the reverse grid race coming up a little bit later, and we'll head over to the British Formula 4 Esports stuff. Cheers, Dan.
Thank
well
you.
Done.
Thank you.
There we go. Another podium finish there, returning to form. Cam, like I say, exciting stuff in the Formula 1600s, but heading into the first of the British Formula 4 side of things. This is where things get exciting, get different, get tricky, of course, because once again, British Formula 4 Esports has been fantastic so far this season, and I expect very much more of the same thing. You can see the calendar here, of course, same as what we saw in the Formula 1600s, Snetterton 300 to round out, again, this triple header start to the season. Alton Park, Silverstone, Knockhill, Donington, Brands, Grand Prix Circuits, those final 2. But here at Snetterton, one of the longest laps we'll see all season. Silverstone will be the longest. There is the run of what we're doing today. 2 20-minute races. Qualifying will be underway pretty much now. We'll check out what's going on in that one. And, of course, the same spinny wheel, the same reverse grid race. We'll be having a break between race 1 and 2 as we see the second race in the Formula 1600s. And, again, they're playing for cash in this one. Teams champions get $3 grand, $2 grand for second, $1,500 for third. And, of course, $1 grand goes the way of the drivers champion as well. So it's a pretty nice reward.
Absolutely awesome prize pool there, and it's looking really nice in the championship as well for Pete Berryman. Of course, getting the double victory despite the reverse grid, managed to win both races at Donington, and it's gifted him a really nice 23-point lead already. And with how close it is in behind, that's already a nice step.
It's even looking slightly better, courtesy of a 3-point penalty for Remy Gilbert. Of course, one of his sort of sister teammates, Gordy Much, sitting in that third position, winning the first round of the season, but struggling a little bit of retirement. 4th and 8th last round. Donington was fine, but did have damage in the reverse grid race. Has not had the best luck in those reverse grids. Of course, we should check out the Teams Championship as well and see how things are unfolding in there. It's Stormforce Racing ART at the top and looking pretty strong right now. Of course, Pete Berryman along with series champion Luke McEwen behind the wheel of that. Freedom UK, Josh Pulane doing an absolutely excellent job at the moment, scoring 40 of the team's points. But we did see quite a lot of progress from the team at the previous round. James Armstrong looking a bit stronger with that 5th place finish in the final race at Donington Park. We'll take a look once more around the circuit here at Snetterton, and it's tricky runs. We've seen it in, I say low downforce, let's call it no downforce in the Formula 1600s. We slap a couple of wings on, add a little bit extra power, take it up to 160 brake horsepower, and now we'll take a run around Snetterton on board. It's a tricky one. It always is, no matter how much downforce you have, but with that extra speed coming into that first corner, you've got even more commitment. Going out once again wide, coming back into that slightly later apex at Riches, and then down towards the Wilson hairpin. You kind of might see them in qualifying going in a little bit later for the apex on that one. In the race, it'll be a nice tight line to make sure they cover off the attack from any cars behind. Through Palmer and this short run down towards Agostini, only about 400 metres before we get down to the braking zone of Agostini. You want to open it all the way up, using as much as you can on the right-hand side before slowly following this quite quick hairpin all the way through, going once again into that later apex, get that good run up towards Hamilton. Almost flat through here, just a slight lift before you punch your way down towards Oggies. In my opinion, the hardest part on the circuit. It's a corner which feels like you're getting an unbelievable amount of understeer through, even if you have the most oversteery car in the world. Push it through Williams and out once again onto the Bentley straight with that run all the way down to Brundle and Nelson. It is an overtaking opportunity. I'd say even more so in the British Formula 4s than it was in the Formula 1600s. Inside line, outside line, it gives you an advantage and disadvantage into the next section. It depends on which way you're feeling and how confident you are around the outside. Gives you the inside for the next bit, and of course the inside for the run all the way around Bombhole and then through Coram. I don't suspect we'll see too much side-by-side through Coram, as we see a slightly more typical line running it out a little bit wide before you come in a bit late for that final part of Coram into a very straight line into the braking zone, as straight as you can possibly get going through Murray's. And once again, nail that one, get out onto the centre straight and try and keep your nose clean. It will be tricky in this. We've seen lots of drama in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. I'm sure we're going to see it here as well. Qualifying is underway, Cam. And once again, we have to look at some of our favourites in all of this. You know, the likes of Pete Berryman, who's had an unbelievable qualifying record. Again, the lowest that Pete Berryman has qualified in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship is 4th, unbelievably. And of course, had that pole position in the previous round.
Yeah, he's really looking to continue that charge. He's got the momentum under his belt, and of course his team as well. With the Stormforce ART, they are looking very strong over the last couple of rounds. So to be honest, he's just got to ride that wave of confidence that he's got in this car and in this championship so far, and it's working out really well up towards the provisional pole position. Also by a decent margin considering how close some of the times are. Look at Bradbury, Ladd, and even McEwen there for 4th, 5th, and 6th, all separated by 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, and for McEwen, I'd say, completely disappointed, but he'll want to be up there with Berryman, with Much, with Deslanas, of course, sister teammates. There is Matt Caruana, fresh off of a podium in the previous round, his first podium in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It was great to catch up with him afterwards and hear about the different mentality coming into this season, bearing in mind how he clearly had all the pace last season, but now is showing the pace and the maturity, the calmness, and the composure. I suspect that despite this being a long circuit, Cam, this session is going to be mighty close in that top 10, and you can really see it already, like you said.
Yeah, these guys are just unbelievably talented, and they've got quite a bit of experience now in this car, of course, is Karana there. Absolutely sliding out the final corner. Sarika and Ladd, they improved. They got up to 3rd and 4th place respectively. Once again, we got two times Churl there at the front for 3rd and 4th, tied, and then also Ladd and Deslandis for 5th and 6th, also tied. These times are absolutely off the scale, to be honest, with how close it is.
Yeah, Isaac Arberton going into 12th position. Obviously finished 6th in the first race at Donington Park, the 3rd round of the season in the previous one. But then, to be fair, in this, I kind of think if you're qualifying outside of the top 2 or 3, it's crazy town anyway. We've seen drivers go from the back of the grid to the front. I mean, look at Josh Poulain last time. He went from 19th to comfortably up the order. I think he finished in 9th position that first race, didn't he? After working his way up. Poor qualifying, you can still work your way back. Gordy Much, I think we'll call that session to an end. Or maybe he's just taking some interesting tactics to keep his tyres nice and warm. But at the moment, 2nd position for Gordy Much. Pretty solid qualifying effort.
Yeah, that's really good. And he's been right up there over the course of the championship so far. So to be fair, he wants to keep that consistency. He's been one of the more consistent drivers, I'd say. Of course, had the retirement in the 2nd race, but still looking very, very good over the course of the championship. The issue is when these times are so close, any of these drivers realistically could have a so-called good lap just by improving by 1/10 of a second, even 1/2 of a second in some of these cases. So that's why you've really got to be absolutely on it. Every single input needs to be perfect with how you get on the power, with how you get that weight transfer in the car in the corners. Certainly not an easy one at all. We're seeing slightly different lines are actually coming towards the final corner there for Gilbert to try and start this next lap. Taking a bit of a wider line to get straighter in the braking zone. Interesting to see just that difference between this car and the 1600. And up towards the line, is there going to be an improvement for him in that 3rd place?
Yes.
And
no, I think it's not come through. Oh, see, I thought it said 781. But it was a 48, never mind. Sorry, Cam, I thought I saw an improvement. Matt Caruana, though, does go up there. I thought I saw a 781, but no, it's fine. It's fine. By the way, you know when I was speaking about qualifying around here, if you're outside of the top 5, it doesn't really matter. You just work your way up the order anyway. I think Remy Gilbert is the best example of that because his average qualifying is 14th. Has qualified 10th and 18th. He sat 2nd in the championship, ladies and gents. He's just worked his way through, particularly in those reverse grid races. Yes, he's made the most of them, but we know that he's got the pace to challenge those kind of drivers. So we're just kind of seeing him piece that one together as Ted Bradbury comes up towards the line as well. Shockingly enough, I think Ted Bradbury has only got 8 points to his name so far in the season, which is just wild to me. He's so fast.
he is, but the races have to go your way. And unfortunately, he's got 2 retirements and then a 12th place. And we only have points down to 10 positions. The normal sort of FIA, 25 down to 1 point for 10th place. So yeah, it's a very tough it's a very tough environment. This championship is so high level, and if you just miss out a couple of times, then yeah, unfortunately you're going to be not scoring the points. And Bradbury, as you say, for British F4 Esports, he's one of those drivers that you would really expect to be up inside the top 10 pretty much every race, but yeah, just hasn't come his way. Here comes Gilbert for another lap though, currently sitting in that 4th position as we come into the final minute of the qualifying session. Can he this time? He went for a bit of a slower lap prior to this. Now, this time around, can he make any sorts of improvements? A long run to the line. You've got to get that final corner correct. He goes for a 0.87. That's going to be very close to improvement on his own time as Caruana puts on provisional pole.
Wow, wow, wow. Impressive from Caruana. Josh Ladd, though, and Moreno Sarika improving and looking strong. So Williams getting a little bit stronger here. Pete Berryman dropped back into 3rd position, but is on a time lap at the moment, coming down to that final sector. He knows what he has to beat now. He knows how much he has to commit. Going through the final sector, it looks tidy out a little bit wide though, going through that final one as Bianca Lilla puts the Aston Martin inside the top 13. Stanley Deslandis looking for another pole position in his British Formula 4 Esports career. Here comes Berryman across the line. Is it going to be good enough? It is, by an enormous margin. That is a mega lap time as Gordy Much puts it into 2nd. Luke McEwen now improves and makes it Stormforce on the front row. Incredible performance there right at the end of the session.
Wow, a whole 1/10 of a second advantage for ART right at the end there. That is showing that they've got potentially just a little jump because the lap times are so close here. Insane to see. Just thousands of a second separating some of these drivers. And here's your grid for the first race.
Indeed, back-to-back pole positions for Pete Berryman then. He'll start alongside teammate and champion Luke McEwen. Gordy Much putting it in third with Stanley Deslanders putting all of the Apex affiliated cars first through fourth. Matt Caruana with a very impressive qualifying puts his Kimura car into fifth with Josh Ladd in sixth place. Improvements for William Esports late in the session puts them sixth and seventh. Moreno Sarika in that seventh spot with Remy Gilbert getting his best qualifying of the season. Second in the championship at the moment, eighth on the grid. Ted Bradbury in ninth and Aaron Vasquez make it all Altus Esports on the fifth row of the grid. Lucas Muller and Matt Emery will start from 12th place. Mamal Biancalilla and Tobias Olsen in 14th. Isaac Arvidsson, Tamas Simon, Elliot Pugh and of course James Armstrong rounding out the top 18. Alexander Davidson and another poor qualifying for the driver inside the top 5 of the championship. Josh Pulane will start from 20th, one worse than he was at Donington Park. Rachel Concoli will start from 21st position with Brandon Abrams, of course Duncan Hoffland and Ben Hitz in 24th. Within a second of the pole position, Sergio Fitzpatrick, the last driver within a second of the pole with Carl Chase, Ryan McAuliffe and Daniel Parron-Smith not only looking for his first point of the season, but he's looking for his first finish of the season. It's going to be a tough one, but can anyone stop Pete Berryman?
Oh, that is going to be a difficult one. I'm sure he's going to be absolutely ecstatic with getting that pole position with the lap times so close. I think it's going to be a difficult one though. With, as we said, with the lap times being this close, we're going to have a whole train. There's going to be 7-8 drivers going for this victory. Any small mistake, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. We're going to see, Constantine reflects into the tight corners. It's going to be a difficult one.
It is going to be difficult, but 20 minutes go onto the board and we'll start it nonetheless. All 4 Apex affiliated drivers will start first from fourth. It is a challenge for all of those behind to try and beat Pete Berryman. It is not a good start for Berryman compared to his teammate Luke McEwen on that front row, who might well have a proper drag race up towards that first corner. It's the champion on the right-hand side trying to make it past his teammate. To the outside, they'll go through the first corner. Berryman, though, is able to hold firm, and Gordy Much on the charge behind. Look at Matt Caruana, though, straight down the inside of Stanley Deslanders. Another driver looking for his first point of the season, despite having an amazing qualifying performance here. Caruana down the inside. Fifth position, I think it will have to hold, though, as they head up towards Palmer. Look at that to the inside, though. McEwen's attacking his teammate and is trying to take over the race lead.
I'm surprised to see these teammates batting, but they want the race victories. Up the inside is going to be for McEwen. It's going to be Berryman on the outside as he gets pushed as well by his teammate just in the background. They continue to go side by side in towards Agostini there. McEwen with a really nice exit. He's actually lifting off a little bit. Interesting tactics there, side by side in towards now Oggies. This is going to be a very difficult one with obviously the sort of the tight braking zone, the inside of the hairpins. They continue to go side by side for about half a lap now.
Incredible performance, but I'm sure it'll be making things very nervy behind the scenes at Stormforce and the Apex Racing team. They know the quality of their drivers and they're showing it here. Could it be 3 wide? Could Gordy Much really push it to the absolute limit? Is Matt Caruana going to work his way past Stanley Deslanders? And who is going to lead the first lap here at Snetterton? Is it going to be McEwen? Is it going to be Berryman? I think it'll be McEwen, though. He'll come down into that final sort of complex to start that third sector going through Brundle into Nelson. It is McEwen that leads from Berryman, from Much, from Caruana, who has been able to pass Stanley Deslanders.
McEwen's going to be loving this one. Really just one podium to his name. He's had issues in all the other races so far, especially that big crash back at Brands Indy. He was fighting for the race lead there with Josh Ladd that time around. But as we come across the start-finish line for this first time around here for the British F4 Esports Championship, across the line it's just going to be Luke McEwen holding on, but it's going to be his teammate Berryman coming back up the inside with the slipstream. Looks like overtaking is very much possible, and he sweeps to the inside already.
Look at the up and under, though, from Luke McEwen. This is fantastic from the Stormforce drivers. Straight back down the inside. The champion's going to go highly committed. You've got to be brave and you've got to be confident to try these moves, especially when you're on the teammate. The risk of contact is so high. Gordy Much, though, might get a bit frustrated at all of this, thinking, lads, we're going so slow, and I'm starting to feel the pressure from Caruana, who will not be so patient behind me. McEwen trying to retake over and hold on to the race lead as they head down towards Agostini, but it is Pete Berryman looking for his third consecutive win in British Formula 4 Esports, trying to get down the inside. It remains side by side out on the exit of Agostini.
This is absolutely insane, especially, as you say, it's between the teammates, and they're fighting so hard at the front. McCune just got to about a car length lead there. Up towards one. In the background, though, Sarika sends it up the inside of DeSantis, and that is going to be his teammate as well. Josh Ladd trying to push through on towards the Bentley straight, though. Sarika should just about complete that maneuver, but here is Josh Ladd. That's going to be an important one. He's going to get the slipstream from his teammate down this straight up towards Brundles. That should be the overtake complete, because I don't think DeSantis is going to be able to hold on, and yeah, he's going to have to back into that one. Just showing you how important that slipstream is, and a bit of team play there from the Williams guys getting past.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, if Moreno Sharika and Josh Ladd work together here, they genuinely can do something about the Apex Racing domination, especially if they work a little bit with Matt Caruana sat in that 4th position. There is the opportunity. You've also got Remy Gilbert joining into this fight. Stanley Deslandis going backwards. He's not having a particularly good second season of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Obviously had a couple of very impressive runs back in 2022, but we're not quite seeing that form. From a driver who has won a race, who has got a pole position, who has got a few podiums to his name, but he's just not quite showing it this season. Maybe the strength of the field has gone up even more so as McEwen once again passes Berryman in the first corner.
Yeah, it's funny to talk about strength of field. The top about 7, all pretty much 9 8KI rating. Insane talent we have on this field. Here's Ted Bradbury coming through Palmer's. Oh, losing the rear end. Huge contact there with the Gill car. And unfortunately, one of the Sim Race Sweden's also getting involved there. Big contact. And a couple of drivers already out of the race so far. Yeah, further cars in the pit lane.
Yeah, and obviously Freem UK being one of these that got really affected on that first lap, because Josh Poulain is out of the race. Oh, that was a big one for Benedict Hits. I think that was definitely contact from one of the Sim Race Sweden cars on the inside, but probably didn't know it was 3 wide, turned a little bit. Big shame there for Dur Esports.
Yeah, very aside there, because it's so disappointing for Hits on the outside. Couldn't really do a lot about that. He's sort of stuck there, unfortunately, at that point. Berryman has dropped down into 3rd place, though, who's batting with a teammate, McEwen, in towards Ritchie's at the first corner. But the outcome is Goody Much managed to get past him, so hopefully there's no damage or anything for Berryman. It might have just been a tiny little mistake. Caruana now coming from him in that 3rd place, but McEwen should be loving this one out the front after some really hectic opening couple of laps.
Yeah, I think Gordy Much might sit himself between the 2 Stormforce cars and say, no, lads, let's calm this down, shall we? Although I've spoken to Gordy a few times, I don't think that's the case. That's not in his repertoire. We'll have to wait and see what he can do in this. Maybe he'll go after his 2nd victory of the season. I'm sure things might calm down for a little bit throughout the middle part of this race, but I think it might take some drama to get into that point as we ride on board with Matt Caruana. This is what I'm saying about Caruana. I think last season he would have absolutely gone for that, whereas now you heard him lift out the throttle, being more patient, thinking about the long game, keeping himself involved in this fight. We'll try something later on in the race. Now's not the time.
Yeah, certainly not with the slightly longer 20-minute race compared to the 1600. So they got those extra sort of 3 laps at this track to work out their position. So definitely have to take that into consideration. What he does need to do, though, is look in his mirrors for Sarika and Ladd, the 2 Williams cars who should be catching up to this battle to make it a 6-way fight for the lead. And when I say catch up, obviously he's only a couple of tenths, but that does make a bit of a difference whether you are sort of actively trying to make an overtake. As in the background there's Deslandis going off onto the grass. They often do this around this track. The track limits are a little bit more open. You can really use the curbs at this venue, but it looks like actually Caruana is going to be looking to the back of Berryman. What they don't want to do, though, is really start looking at gaps opening up towards the front. The good thing around here, though, is that the slipstream is, it does seem to be quite powerful. Yeah, certainly. So obviously, the straights being best part of half a mile long. In fact, I think over. No, it's just under half a mile. 800 meters is half a mile, and so I think that both the Senna Straight and the Bentley Straight are just under that half mile. Basically, they're pretty long, which does mean you pick up an awful lot of slipstream on them. And these cars do dish out quite a lot anyway. They're in that sort of like low to medium downforce range, but they do actually kick out quite a lot. But because they don't have very much power, being obviously just 160 brake horsepower, anything is an assistance. There is a look down the inside and a big one from Isaac Arvidson trying to work his way past the number 57 of Tamas Simon. Now working his way past in all of that, but having a little bit of drama behind him as Ryan McAuliffe trying to work his way through as well. He's trying to bump draft up towards the outside of Ritchie's. That's a very difficult maneuver. He's going to hold it there around the outside. I think it might just be squeezed out just a little bit. Dives it then to the inside there. Does McAuliffe down the inside of the hairpin. Lovely switchback maneuver there to make that move. and they just about avoid contact on the exit as well. Wow, that was brave.
Remember how I said about points and stuff and penalty points in the previous, obviously when we were doing the Formula 1600s. Ryan McCarriff has an unfortunate claim to fame in this. Obviously the most penalty points, which is the point I was going to bring up, but has scored 8 points in the championship and coincidentally lost 8 points in this championship courtesy of penalty points, as we see a battle between James Armstrong and Tobias Olsen. Of course, Freem UK looking really strong in the teams championship. James Armstrong, the lone driver for Freem UK, left in this race. Almost contact on the rear end from Brandon Abrahams, as Isaac Arperson's now going to pick up the pieces going into Oggy. He's trying to fight out with Tobias Olsen and try and work his way through. No opportunity as of yet.
Yeah, Olsen, of course, very strong in this machinery, but just hasn't put together the season so far that he would have wanted, and his team Arvidsson as well. Really strong drivers, but unfortunately, just getting involved in a couple of contacts. Always in the background, further contact there as Olsen just squeezes off the 47 machine there of Armstrong coming through. I mean, difficult corner there, to be fair, but I wonder if there's just a little bit of undue contact.
Yeah, disaster for Freem UK. Josh Pulane already out of the race. Now it looks like it's almost definite there'll be no points scored in this one for the teams that are right up there in the teams championship. Yes, they're not challenging really Stormforce UK when it comes to their dominance on the team side of things. Wasn't in contact, it's just a solo mistake really. Got highly committed in there, maybe a little bit unsighted. Touched a bit too much of the curb on the inside, maybe even just a little bit of a breather on the rear end of Olsen, but yeah, easy done.
Yeah. Wow, look at this train up towards the front though. The leaders really continuing to stay close, as you would expect with the consistently fast lap times that they do, but also the close lap times between each driver as well. We have remained in the same sort of top 7, top 8 in terms of the order, but everyone is obviously going to be waiting for the opportunities. In a few seconds time, we'll be at that 10-minute mark halfway through this first race, and the drivers will then start to be thinking where they are going to be making these maneuvers. They're not going to stay in these same positions, or at least they're not going to try from here to the end of the race. At some point they will be making those moves and to try and find their way through. It's just difficult to do so because, as we saw, especially in the 1600s, you can just have these battles lap after lap, corner after corner, but you just lose time. And in a battle like this, you can't be having any sorts of battles, with the guys sort of 5 cars behind you. You just want to be focusing on that one car next to you.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's all dicey in this, but I'm still fuming that they're breaking my rule, the rule of 6, the magic rule of 6, which this is far more than 6. I mean, the train really goes back to 9th. Matt Emery is definitely in the hunt. Yes, there are some slightly larger gaps behind all of this, but still, it really is a 9-car train for race victory in the 5th race of this season. Of course, McEwen's looking for his first of the season. Peter Berryman's looking for his 3rd, not only of the season, but in a row. Of course, Gordy Much is looking for his 2nd win. It's tight margins. And right at the back of it, Remy Gilbert's looking for a nice reverse grid and some more healthy points, although might well still sneak his way through depending on how the drama works. There's 9 minutes left to go, as I think Berryman's getting pushed out here by Caruana, who I almost thought was going to have a little bit of a look on the run up towards Palmer's, but no, back to Alan.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a half look there around the outside of the hairpin and just slowing Berryman down a little bit. It's lost to car length to Gordy Much, but nothing to worry about just yet. And that has really allowed Sarika to get right on the gearbox of Caruana. I think that's what they're seeing behind. They're starting to see, because when you're that sort of car length behind, you don't really think about it. But when that car is literally pushing you through the corners or close to, that's when you start really getting worried that they're going to dive you down the inside. Because it doesn't take much for you just to flick the wheel to the inside of the corner and brake 5 meters later and try at least thinking about making a move. But it continues to be McEwen out at the front here, leading the way. Looks rather calm there in the webcam footage. To be honest, just keeping himself prepared for the final couple laps when surely Much in behind is going to be coming for him. Doesn't look like Caruana's had any further attack of Berryman though, so maybe that's just a little bit of a run. Maybe Berryman didn't get quite the exit out of the first corner, and so he had to go there to avoid a contact.
I can't help it. Every time I see webcams of people, especially when they go through corners, it's always what the mouth does, which just always it's Sebastian Jobe that's number 1 on what is he doing list. But he's licking his lips, is Luke McEwen. He's ready for this. He's ready for the fight from Gordy Much. I think that's what that's all about. Obviously, everyone's got their own focus here, their own idea of how they get through the corner. I just think it's weird and interesting. Sorry to point that out if he's in a nervous disposition about it. I've now just pointed out to all the people who watch this broadcast. It's fine. We'll move on from it. I won't ask him questions in the interview room later on about it. But the thing is, when he's being interviewed, when we heard from him at Donington Park, he sounds calm. He sounds comfortable. He sounds in control, despite not having a very good start to the season. You wouldn't kind of know it by talking to him.
No, and I would say that's where the better drivers come out, to be honest. As Gordy March just closes in, doesn't have a dive down the inside this time around. But yeah, the better drivers are where you can just stay calm. You just do your job almost in a robotic fashion. You can just hit every apex, hit all your braking markers as you want. And because when you start getting that sort of human emotion into it, that's actually where the mistakes come into it. That's why we see these big aggressive dives, and that's because that's your your human instinct, and I guess your little bit of ego coming into it. You just want to dive and get aggressive and sort of be a bit primal about it. But those drivers who can stay calm, they can just do what needs to be done. They generally keep themselves up towards the front for a little bit longer. Here's Much once again getting a bit of a run, just showing you how, when he actually stays flat out, just how close you get with that slipstream.
But I mean, you can tell by how close you're getting, by not just obviously the space between you and the car ahead, but by how early he is lifting, right? It's not as if it's, you're getting just about there and, then you're into the corner. He's lifting like and kind of coasting into the corner. This would be amazing in endurance racing. If we were talking about British GT right now, you'd be thinking, I can save a load of fuel here and I can save a couple of laps on the stop at this point. Considering how much he's lifting out and how early he's doing so. But obviously we don't care about any of that. It's literally just 20 minutes of racing, which will have 4 more laps left to go with the time that we've got. They're running about 1 minute 45 second lap times. There's a look down the inside from Caruana. Does not go for it, but Gordy Much is trying around the outside of McEwen. The attacks for the race lead are starting to begin. Caruana was giving it a go for the final step on the podium as well. We are starting to heat up, and we're still 1 over this magic rule of 6. Is there going to be drama?
Yeah, we'll find out. The thing is, the opportunities are starting to come. So something surely is going to happen. And exactly what we see in the hairpin there is going to get very awkward if they continue to do that. Because what happens is, at the moment, everyone's sort of lifting off. They're braking at a nice moment. The absolute second that someone starts braking late and everyone in behind starts clattering into the corner, braking as late as they can, that's where we get this concertina effect. You get the change of lines, you get people who sort of end up diving up the inside when they don't mean to, and it all gets a little bit tense and a little bit awkward. So hopefully they can control that and just find a space for themselves on the track. Here is McEwen, though, having to defend potentially down this straight. Here comes Gordy Much. Does he go for a move this time around? Did he go inside the final 5 minutes of the race? No, he does not. They just close up and they continue to push their way around. But potentially the hairpin, it looks like the hairpin seems to be the opportunity around this track for everyone to just sort of at least have a look, and hopefully the driver ahead makes a mistake.
Yeah, obviously we know at the end of these straights that certainly drivers are getting a look. That's where we had the moves as well from McEwen, Berryman, and plenty of the earlier moves in the race at the end of those straights, looking down the inside of the first corner, looking down the inside into Brundle. I think that might be where the moves are going to start. 3 laps left to go. They'll all be very aware of that in the cockpits. They're aware as to how long's left. Look at how close Gordy Much is to the back of Luke McEwen. I don't think he wants to go for the lead just yet, but you're absolutely right. It's that concertina up behind. It's people accidentally basically going for stuff that's causing some of the problems. Why you see them all fanning out all over the place around here. It's less to go for a move. It's more to cover yourself off from being taken out from the car behind. Pete Berryman, though, switching it up to the inside, coming into Palmer, also to cover off Caruana and maybe even fill the mirrors with his sister teammate Gordy Much.
Yeah, this is actually the way you put it is, I think, actually the better way to describe it. Yeah, you're sort of covering off, you're sort of just finding room for yourself, even though they're not necessarily trying to overtake directly. Just what happens when you get all these drivers pushing to the limit and the car ahead maybe not going the absolute top pace, although McEwen is holding on really, really well as it stands. And naturally, of course, you get the slipstream pulling everyone in and sort of condensing this field. Though as it stands, we do still have this top 7 all fighting in towards the final 3 minutes now. So there's going to be a couple of laps left to go at the line. McEwen is now starting to defend. He's snaking down the straight. He's trying to not let Much get any sort of car alongside or even down the inside in towards Brundles. And yeah, holds on this time around, but he's at least starting to think about it. And that is, to be honest, that is open eyes there for Gordy Much, because he knows that McEwen's slightly nervous at the lead.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, maybe looking to feel that pressure. 2 laps left to go. Maybe we'll see McEwen start to defend a little bit more. Maybe we'll see Gordy Much try to go for it. I mean, again, do remember sister teammates in all of this. I think the initiator in all of this will potentially be Caruana in 4th position, although you can see now as if they've been given the green flag to start racing. The defensive line being taken from McEwen. Penultimate lap of the race has just begun. The up and under might work here for Gordy Much, who closes in once again. No intent of going down the inside, big intent of going around the outside, going into the Wilson hairpin. He'll give him the inside of the Palmer if he gets the run right, but it's not quite there. The traction isn't around the outside there.
Oh, this is starting to be the opportunities opening up. McEwen holding on as it stands though, but just a couple of laps to go. So this is the opportunity, because if you get the lead now, you might be able to hold on. Up the inside is going to be though, in towards XC. No, not quite. He at least had a look, but McEwen still makes the apex and in behind. Look at the absolute train of cars waiting for something to happen, waiting for an opportunity for them to increase their position as well. As in the background, I've got that Gilbert still battling for that 8th place going onto the grass. But that's not to take away from this battle. Up towards the front, that McEwen's still leading.
Yeah, Remy Gilbert versus Matt Emery, 8th and 9th. Hey, maybe that'll be the reverse grid spot. Who knows? At the moment, though, this train for the top 7, there is a bit of an outlier in that. You've got 2 Stormforce Racing cars, 2 JHR by 21 Esports, 2 Williams Esports cars, and then you have the lone Kimura of Matt Caruana right in the middle of all of it. Sort of a Caruana sandwich, but then one type of bread's different than the other, so we're not going to go there. What it is, though, is an incredible fight that maybe there will be the opportunity for a pass. We're starting to see some breaks in it, though, as Berryman feeling the pressure more from Caruana. This could give Gordy Much the right opportunity to go for it.
Well, certainly could. On to the final lap. We're about to begin. 45 seconds of racing, so just time for one final trip around Snetterton for the first race of the evening. McEwen's led the way for so many laps, managed to get past his teammate Pete Berryman, but now it's going to be Gordy Much coming for the run up towards the hairpin. He's going to have to try and get McEwen offline to get that run in towards the braking zone.
He's going for the up and under. I think that was the line that it was a bit telling to at least try. He's carried so much speed through Riches. He's once again going to go into the hairpin. He's just about to take over the race lead, but it's the inside run and the drive off that's working in favour of Luke McEwen. Gordy Much is throwing everything at this. Doesn't matter whether they're sister teammates or what at this point. The race victory is on. It is on the horizon. McEwen, the champion, looking for his first of 2023. Gordy Much looking for his second. He won the opening round of the season. Pete Berryman still looking for his 3rd consecutive. We're on the last lap of the race. There is not many opportunities left, Cam.
There's certainly not, but looking at the webcams, I think Much is a little bit more aggressive with his hands as such. With that, McEwen there makes a bit of a mistake through Hamilton. That could potentially open up the door, but not this time around. In the background, we've seen some moves that maybe DeSantis trying to make a move up there for that 6th position. Doesn't make it, though, up towards the lead. This is now the final proper straight on the track.
Yeah, here we go then, onto the Bentley straight. The final sort of kilometre and a half before we reach the checkered flag. Who is going to come out on top? McEwen with that inside line being taken. The outside will be committed from Gordy Much. It's got to be a big send around there. Going through Brundle into Nelson right now. Gordy Much was not able to do so. McEwen could well hang on. Surely there's not going to be a move into Murray's though, Cam.
Oh, I don't think so, but look at this Much. He's really trying. Going to have to hang it around the outside, find a way to get a run up the inside or slipstream to the line. It's going to be so close. Can he find a way through?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Right now, things look pretty settled. The Apex Racing team camp. They had 4 drivers starting in the top 4, but they're going to have 3 of those rounding out the podium. McEwen, Much and Berryman, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Very close in their excellent fight between them. Matt Caruana settles for 4th. Moreno Sirica and Josh Ladd, 5th and 6th. And Stanley Deslandis come all across the line, separated by 1.5 seconds. Incredibly close, but not so much drama on the table. Less so than what we've seen normally in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Maybe we're going to see that reverse grid throw everything up in the air. Remy Gilbert will come across the line in 8th, Emery in 9th, and Davidson inside that top 10 being your point scorers. As we'll see the likes of Sergio Fitzpatrick up towards the line. What do you make of that battle? Was there much a battle in there, or was that more just, drivers playing the team game a little bit and it just kind of looked a little bit like a battle?
No, I'd say they were definitely battling at the end there, but of course, maybe with that extra 5% of risk being taken out of it to not go absolutely crazy and just continue that sort of 1, 2, 3 for the ART team with their couple of entries in this one. So yeah, definitely a proper battle, but teammates always race differently.
Well, spin that wheel is definitely what's occurring now. Again, we still need to get a sound effect for this. I'm now requesting it from Racespot TV. Is it going to be 7 again? It's definitely. See, this is it teases me that it might be 10. Most certainly not on this occasion. So for the second consecutive race, it will be 7. It was 7 in the Formula 1600, and it will be 7. Here in the British Formula 4 Esports, which actually means second driver that came into this round, second of the championship, Remy Gilbert, will not be reversed. As far as I remember, I think he finished in 8th, because it's Stanley Deslandis who finished in 7th, as we can see the finishes here. So the top 7 that were all separated by 1.5 seconds, those are all going to be reversed. So maybe even expect the same kind of fight. Luke McEwen taking that victory as first of the season, Gordy Much in second, Pete Berryman in third, Matt Caruana, Moreno Sarika, Josh Ladd and Stanley Deslandis. That 7-car battle throughout that race. Remy Gilbert, Matt Emery and Alexander Davidson, those drivers that will round out the point scorers and the top 10 finishes. Of course, bonus point going the way of Matt Caruana. Isaac Arvidsson and Tobias Olsson for Simrace Sweden Esports will finish in 11th and 12th, and of course will start there in the next race. Duncan Hoffland for Aston Martin in 13th. Brandon Abrams, of course, James Armstrong, Carl Chase, Sergio Fitzpatrick, Ben Hitz having some big drama, Ryan McAuliffe as well, and all of that having to start from the rear of the field. Tamesh Simon rounding out the top 20. Elliot Pugh being the last of the finishers, and then there was some early drama. Lucas Mueller was out 10 laps before the end of the race, and then that one only a couple of laps in. Ted Bradbury, Aaron Vasquez, Manuel Biancalilla, Josh Poulain, Rachel Concoli and Daniel Parron-Smith getting a 5th consecutive retirement in the championship. Certainly not what you want to see.
No, the retirements are, they'll add up over the course of the season very, very quickly, and the points start to get away from you. So definitely not what you want. But unfortunately, there's a few big crashes in that race, and it just takes out multiple drivers. Every now and again. Unfortunately, that is the way things go. So drivers need to try and avoid that where possible. But hopefully everyone can have a nice race when we get to that reverse grid. And 7's still a fairly big number though, but looking at the top 7 that we had, I think it's going to be a reverse from what we had.
Yep, if you're an Apex Racing team fan, you're about to be very excited by this podium, because the first one that we're going to be joined by in the interview room is Luke McEwen. Well done. Of course, champion last year. We were talking about how you were turning things around last week at Donington Park. Now a race victory. Top 7's getting reversed. Surely you're feeling quite confident right now with a lot of teammates around you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good race, good fair battle at the front between us, 1, 2, 3, 4 on quali. It's good start to this round after a not very good first 2 rounds, but see what happens in the reverse.
Now, does your heart race as much as probably some of those behind the scenes of the Apex Racing team when it comes to that battle early on in the race between yourself and Pete Berryman, especially because you were side by side for what, almost a lap and a half? It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a little bit, but we have good respect for each other when driving, so I knew nothing bad was going to happen. I'm sure he did too. So yeah, it was just good racing from my end.
It's kind of one of those major things that maybe some of the younger drivers, the newer drivers in the world of sim racing maybe overlook. When you're practicing, you're not just practicing lap times, right? Do you practice battling so you kind of understand how to attack a circuit and how to maybe find those moves?
Yeah, definitely. With a championship like this, it's a big part of the championship is learning when and not to overtake and how to do it properly without losing. You can sometimes lose positions going for an overtake, so yeah, it's something we really work on.
Well, Luke, get ready for the next race. Of course, you'll be starting from 7th. Best of luck in that one. We'll have to wait and see where you're going to finish.
Thanks.
Perfect. So after starting that one from 2nd and then finishing it in the race lead, Luke McEwen takes his first victory of the season. In a second, we'll be joined by Gordy Much, of course, the driver that finished in 2nd in that race after delivering yet another decent performance. My future co-commentator, Gordy Much, joins us. Talk to us about that race. Was there the right opportunity on the line, or were you just kind of like sat in 2nd thinking, if the right one's there, I'll go for it. If not, I'm happy with 2nd?
Yeah, I mean, Luke had some good pace out front. With this, it's a battle between the dirty air and how long the straight is. Unfortunately, the middle sector is quite twisty, and it's a medium speed corner which leads onto the back straight. So, you scrub a bit of speed just with losing a bit of air on the front end, and that means that you can't quite get the run. I couldn't quite get an opportunity to properly place a good firm move on Luke. So it's a long championship, so it's good points. It's good to see Stan up there again in P7. He had a really strong qualifying, so it's nice to see a good overall team result.
And the reverse grid is 7, so Stanley's going to be starting from the reverse grid pole. You've already won. I know obviously he won last year. Are you kind of in communication with him? Are you kind of passing on any advice, or are you just kind of like letting him do his thing?
Yeah, try to pass on like little bits of info to him. But to be honest, I'm so focused on what's going on around me that I can't really construct the much of the battle for him while he's kind of jousting away. I think it was like P6, P7 he was. So I think definitely we'll work together a lot more. There'll be a lot more communication if we're within the same exact battle. But I think it's quite hard to actually work together if you're in 2 separate battles. I think if you're in 2 separate battles, you tend to just kind of focus on your own battles essentially. Yeah.
Well, Gordy, you're probably going to end up at the same point on the racetrack as him because he's starting that reverse. Could probably be starting from 6th. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of drama in that race coming up. Good luck for it. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
There we go, Gordy Much. Again, future co-commentator of mine. He does want to do some commentary, but one day maybe we'll kick Cam Roger out there. We're not going to. It's fine. Last one will be joined by, of course, will be Pete Berryman, championship leader. Did not get that 3rd consecutive win though, but still picks up yet another podium. You're looking unbelievably consistent this championship. Start off with qualifying, obviously getting your 2nd consecutive pole. You're feeling really confident right now, surely?
To be honest, I'm really surprised I got the pole. The lap was pretty bad, let alone, I'm not the quickest guy in my team. So yeah, Luke's been really fast all week, so I think he had a bit of a messy lap. Otherwise, yeah, he would have put in an absolute stormer. But yeah, it feels pretty good. Massive points from the team that race. Bit unfortunate, I sort of got shuffled back at the start, and then I was under pressure for the whole race from the car behind. But I think we managed it as well as we could to finish where we did.
Now, I've got a little bit of an update on the points, at least from what I'm seeing. Depends on if Cam Rogers has posted it incorrectly. I'm sure he has. That you've got a 25-point lead at the moment. How does that kind of affect your mentality when you're coming into rounds? You've got a solid lead. Does it actually make you race differently? Or, to be honest, do you just not care about that right now?
No, for sure. Even before the championship started, straight away, race 1, it's on my mind. I know I've got the speed and I'm going to be fighting for the championship. So last year, I pretty much cost myself the drive. Well, myself, I lost the Drivers' Championship really due to a bad start. Got caught in a few crashes and whatnot, so I knew that getting a good start this season is really going to matter a lot. But yeah, I think more so once you've got the lead, it definitely, every sort of decision, that's in the back of the head. So yeah, every corner I take, it's looming over me a bit.
Well, I think Gordy might have made his way into the little room in the background, so we'll leave you to it. Get yourself ready for the 2nd race a bit later on, and best of luck, Pete.
Cheers, thank you.
And there we go, Cam. Again, another fantastic race, another unbelievable performance from our top 3, and another fantastic one. But we move back into Formula 1600 mode, Cam. We'll have to. We'll come back to the British Formula 4s in a moment. That was a lot of fun, though.
Oh, it certainly was. Awesome race once again, and you just can't imagine the amount of pressure that these guys are under as well. Just every single 1,000th of a second matters in that championship as well. We've got loads of drivers going off, and as they come to the end of their warm-up session. But yeah, for the F4s, amazing style of racing, and the level that we have in that championship is just so good. Really enjoying watching those battles, and to be honest, the drivers overcome some of those insane amounts of pressure that they get from the drivers behind.
It's just so exciting to watch. Like you said, I mean, basically like the entire top end of the grid, they're all like 8 or 9k. It kind of looks, when you're watching it, you're looking at it being like, yeah, I could maybe take on some of these drivers. And then you see things like that, and you're like, no, not on. We'll refocus our attention on the Formula 1600s, though. Henry Moore, I think, has got a pretty healthy I rating. I can't remember what he's up. I think it's 6 or 7k. Yeah, it's like 6. So to be fair, most of the top few actually, with Moore and Cooper, I think they're about 6-7k. So to be honest, yeah, really, I mean, that's still
to be fair, for your average iRacing person, I mean, they'll be happy to get 3-4K, let alone 6-7 as we're seeing. So still some top level racing. We do have some people who are newer. Just seeing Aaron Mensah has got 618 still on the rookie license as such. So obviously, got some way to work himself up. But yeah, definitely all sorts of talents on the grid.
Cam, I think the majority of the of the people in sim racing would be happy with around 2K. Let alone
that is true.
Like it's one of those things. Like everyone kind of think, yeah, no, 3 or 4K, that's pretty average. No. Average is still much lower than that. But it's just where
What's
we
yours?
kind of are in the 2.8. Maybe it might be like 2.6 now. I did lose quite a bit. Did some super performance racing the other week.
I think I'm like 1.2, so I can't say much.
You weren't particularly high when we did Spa. We're not going to. I was the only one that pinned it. It's fine. I'll get that joke out early. We'll move our way into the race and we'll take a look at the grid. Of course, the top 7 were reversed in the previous one. Phelps will start as 1 from pole. Smith from 2nd. Sikorsky on a return into 3rd after finishing 5th in the previous race, with Tompkins, Cooper, and Dan and Moore inside that top 6. Of course, 7th place and race winner Henry Moore. Jack Badger in 8th, with Groves and Mac McFarquhar starting from 10th. Matthew Crisp and Cameron Knowles in 12th. Of course, as we let the rest of them roll through, you've got Simon Ball, Aaron Mensah, Caulfield, Whittle, Loudon and Ettridge will start from 18th before we get William Hope, Crispin Williams, of course Martin Vilk and Ed Hope starting from the rear of the field. Those ones all having drama in the previous race, Cam. They are looking to overcome something special. This is the kind of grid you can work through. It might be a hard track to overtake at, but it is possible.
Certainly is, and slightly bigger skill gap as well, so definitely think Moore will be getting up towards the front, at least on the podium by the end of this race.
Yeah, so it was a 3rd consecutive win from Henry Moore. He'll be starting this one from 7th, looking for his 4th on the bounce and going back-to-back when it comes to doubles. Can he do so, or will Isaac Phelps do it? I'm not sure that start from Phelps was particularly good enough. He's being caught by Ronnie Smith on that race down towards the first corner. As we head our way down, it was also a better start from Henry Moore than it was from Danamore as we head our way through the first section. It is still Isaac Phelps leading from Ronnie Smith, from Sikorsky as well, who's trying to jump his way into the mix. Obviously plenty of dicing, ducking and weaving in the background, but at the moment the top lot coming through clean as Jason Cooper is going to work his way past Danamore.
Yeah, and that's opened up the door for more. Oh, we got 4 cars all having a collision there down at the hairpin, unfortunately. Groves is involved in a couple of other cars, but the battle for the race lead goes on. This is still Ronnie Smith holding it towards the inside. We've got Phelps in behind, down towards Agostini's, and now we've got 4 cars actually battling. Cooper's trying to get involved there as well. One car's gone off in the background as well, as that Sikorsky's gone off.
Yeah, Sikorsky goes out wide going into Agostini, jumps it back onto the racing line. But yes, Ronnie Smith taking over the race lead. There's plenty of drama in the background behind all of that. I think you've got Jack Badger, who's obviously dropped back before. This is Brandon Loudon, who's involved in some fights inside that sort of top 10 or so in the previous race. Obviously was in that exciting fight that we were seeing towards the back end of the top 10 in the previous race. But now dropping right the way down the order. By the way, those that were taken out in the first lap, Jordan Groves, Caulfield, Mac McFarquhar and Simon Ball. I think Jack Badger was also kind of tailed into all this. But look at the lead the top 2 have now. 1 second back to Dana Moore, Jason Cooper and Henry Moore, 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Yeah, that's really opened up the door quite a bit actually for them to sort of pull away a little bit and potentially get out that slipstream range. We'll have to see if Dan Moore can just about hold inside that 1 second gap, which is the all-important number, generally speaking. Here's going to be a replay of the start, though, and potentially see how we ended up with that big crash down at the hairpin.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be quite a bit to piece together from this one. You can see it from up above. Maybe there was even some dramas a little bit from this grouping coming into Rich's as well, but it really did build up towards the Wilson hairpin, which is where everything sort of fell apart. We were looking at Mac McFarquhar there in that bright yellow car, keep an eye on him in the background of all of this. We head our way through, as you can see, bit of lock-up up ahead, and it was just a bit of a spin, unfortunately, literally in front of everyone from Jack Badger.
Yeah, then it's just dun, Constantine effect coming in towards that. I mean, it's so difficult when the car literally right in front of you, spins or has some sort of issue, slows down more than average, and you're just already on the limit of that one. And unfortunately, towards the front there, Smith blinking a little bit, but he is continuing to lead this race from Phelps. They've continued to hold that battle to Moore, but it has come down by a few tenths of a second as they start to close in with Cooper and Moore. Your top 3 from the previous race now sitting 3rd, 4th and 5th of this second race. Sikorsky, after that little bit of an offers, managed to regain, I should say, his position in 6th.
That spin from Badger, by the way, I mean, I don't know about you, Cam, but I always kind of had it where if it was like an innocent mistake from someone and there was a big crash, I'm almost more irritated. Not at the person, but the fact that I've got no one to message after the race to tell them what a muppet they were. You know, you just got to be like, oh, do you know what? It's just one of those things. There's nothing you could do about it, and that's almost more frustrating. There's nowhere to sort of like vent that frustration. Not that you'd ever do that anyway, by the way, especially these days in sim racing. I'm not going into it, but no, you know, like it's almost a little bit more irritating. But alas, that is racing, especially on the first lap. You've got to expect that those things might happen. Unfortunately, for the majority of the pack, there was nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, that's just racing. Unfortunately, things happen that don't go your way, and it's a very difficult one to piece together. But you just have to accept it. Sometimes that is that's how it goes. Especially with the likes of Smith, they're up towards the front. Phelps maybe a little bit distracted by that, but certainly something that he needs to try and overcome. The battles continue a little bit further down. Vilk in that 15th place, not too far behind Groves. You've got Crispin Williams just up behind. But look at the absolute train of cars lower down as well. As we've always said, these positions do matter. But that's a bad exit for Vilk, though. Might be under attack here.
Yeah, certainly so. We'll have to wait and see where the moves are going to come in. Crispin Williams is going to try something. Matt Farquhar's going to try and get past Owen Whittle on the race down towards that first corner, and certainly has the run. They head into Riches, and that almost day-glow yellow car is going to work its way through, but back up to the race lead. Isaac Phelps, Ronnie Smith switching over. Dana Moore also joining into the fight. The only driver that's beaten Henry Moore this season is looking for his second victory, but at the moment it's Isaac Phelps who will hang on to the lead.
Certainly will side by side in towards Agostini's. It's going to be around the outside there for Phelps to try and hold on to that one. Smith in that second place, still on the inside as Moore tries to follow his way through. A little bit of a slide there going out wide. That's opened the door actually for Moore now to try and get this run up towards Hamilton. Doesn't have the exit speed though, just getting squeezed in a little bit. So he's going to dive it up the inside there. Gets up to that second place as long as Phelps can't hold on up the inside. Now it's going to be full contact between Moore and Cooper. Cooper goes around. Sikorsky gets involved. That's really unfortunate there as Moore goes through up to fourth.
Yeah, that might have been Henry Moore going for a gap that kind of wasn't there. We only saw the back end of that one, but that well could be some first penalty points for our championship leader. Of course, still in the race. That is the important thing at the moment. But to be fair, with the championship lead that you got, you might as well sometimes take some risks. As Dana Moore trying to close down on that championship lead, getting to the inside of Ronnie Smith. Straight down the inside he will go, and now up into the race lead. And someone actually representing Chelsea this year that's not doing terribly. Well done.
Let's go back a few corners. This is Henry Moore coming through this very fast kink. He's going to get a bit of a run. Cooper there just slightly misses the apex. So the door opens up, but not quite enough for a car. And Henry still goes for that sort of half gap and unfortunately collects Cooper there. The unfortunate one in that as well is also Sikorsky, who's sort of a third member in that one. He is just in behind those. He hasn't lost absolutely everything, but surely got some damage on that car with Cooper just in behind him though. Cooper actually gets past up towards Riches to 6th place as Moore continues to lead.
It's an easy mistake to make that one. You know, you've got cars, you're kind of expecting them to move back over to the left-hand side. They kind of don't. You've already kind of committed. It's one of those ones that's very, very tricky, especially in cars like this. They feel so wide when you're inside them. Unfortunately, therefore, Jason Cooper. But to be fair, most certainly not out of it. I think, thankfully, for both Cooper and Moore, the contact was so light, neither of them escaped really with any damage. And so they're both looking fairly comfortable within the mix here. Obviously, these cars, like you said before, there's no front wing, no rear wing, no real downforce. It's as simple as it gets, so it's only real suspension damage, and it doesn't look as though either of them are tracking weird, at least from our angle right now. So basically, it's just game on.
Yes, certain is. They've got to continue this battle for 8 more minutes in this second race. Final race up the inside there is going to be for Moore. Can he get himself up onto the podium? Yes, he can. Phelps was leading this race at one point, now down in towards 4th. And Moore, maybe penalty points coming his way, something like that. We'll have to find out. But the more points he gets, therefore, this race will help him out with that. So he can still win the race from this position, but Moore's trying to pull away.
I think by what I've seen from the penalties that have been dished out, if he does get a penalty point, it will be a single point because it's between 1 and 10 positions lost or something like that. I was looking at it and I was thinking, right, that's the rule book. I'm not a competitor, and
not reading.
Look. You've run a few championships in your time. How many competitors really read the championship rule book?
None.
Anyway?
0.
Negative. Have you ever snuck anything into a rule book?
Sorry.
Have you ever snuck anything into a rule book?
Oh yeah,
I do all the time. So.
Yeah, there's a good ones that can catch out if it's something that you want to get right. I mean, it's just part of it, isn't it? It's is the bureaucracies, or whatever you want to call it, of racing. There's always a rule book on black and white, bit of paper that tells you what you can and cannot do, and drivers try and find every sort of limit and loophole that they can of that one so far. I'm talking about on the limit. Look at Ronnie Smith getting so close to the back of Moore, down towards the hairpin. It's going to be up the inside for Danny Moore as he tries to defend from this race lead. It's actually worked out quite nicely. Up the inside is going to be for Moore, though. We should have that second place potentially on the exit.
There will be concerns in this grouping, though, mostly down to the blinking there of Ronnie Smith. Continues to do so. It's been a permanent feature of the Formula 1600, we must say. Ronnie Smith's internet connection being mid-tier. Thankfully, his driving is above it, and the spatial awareness of everyone around him has actually been pretty solid when it's been going on. So I think they're all kind of like ready for it. It's one of those things of racing. Sometimes these things happen. It is what it is. Dannemore, though, with the race lead. The opportunity was almost there for the 41 to sneak his way through. And once again, looking quite close and filling the mirrors.
Yeah, he's getting closer as this we get to the mid part of this race. And he's actually done a really good job so far from this reverse grid position. He wants to try and hold on to his record of the race victories so far. Closing in down this back straight. Can he go left? Can he go right? Danny Moore goes hard left to defend from that. Ronnie Smith to the inside as well, I think. Yes, he is up the inside. That's brave. But Moore's going to get the run on the both of them. Danny Moore just about holding on to that race lead somehow. But Henry Moore is just waiting for his opportunity. Is this up in towards the bomb hole? He's going to have just his wheel up the inside. Not enough to make a move as Smith holds on to that second place.
Yeah, that was wise there from Henry Moore. We're seeing exactly what they were talking about. It's so hard to go racing around here. It's so hard to find that opportunity to open the door. And on this occasion, not quite enough. Wise stuff there from Henry Moore. Some other drivers might have just left that nose in. When you're only alongside by a wheel, yes, it does count technically as an overlap, fair enough. You might be like, well, surely he's got to give me room from there. Really, nah. You've got to play it wiser than that. Whether it's a penalty or not doesn't really matter on this occasion, as Ronnie Smith with the extreme speed up towards that first corner reaches straight around the outside, basically a double apex corner. It's actually going to cost him a position. Is there going to be two picked up from Henry Moore? The answer to that question is no, because it's covered off very well from our race leader, who's still going to hang on at the front.
Awesome racing between these guys. A little bit of squeeze there on the outside for Smith. He's going to lose that momentum up towards Palmer's. So it's now going to be Henry Moore who turns to the outside of this corner. Round the outside is going to be second position if he can hold on to it. Side by side they continue in towards the braking zone. Of course, we've got to look out for Phelps just in the background as well, looking out for his opportunity. And Moore is in the race lead, but who's going to be second place on the exit of the hairpin? Side by side they continue. Moore still continues to go around the outside. He can't find his momentum as this is a very tricky corner. We've seen contact between cars so far already this race. Moore risks it around the outside. Will turn to the inside of Oggies, but he can't make his way through.
And he might lose out here because Isaac Phelps back into it. Henry Moore with an unbelievable send back to the inside. Hooks it up to the apex though. The up and under might work for Isaac Phelps, who goes from fourth to second. The outside run as they head out on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was way out wide. Isaac Phelps squeezing out Henry Moore as they head out onto the Bentley Straight. Jason Cooper will work his way through into fourth. There'll be 2 laps left to go as Dannemore has a 1 second lead at the moment.
Wow, I thought Moore was, just not making that position. He was coming back into the racing line, but then sent it down the inside. That opened the door for Phelps to come through and eventually push Moore out onto the curb. So he's lost a few places. He's down to 5th. Cooper's got himself back up to a potential podium as it stands. With just a couple of laps to go in this race. Let's see this one once more. This is from Cooper up the inside. He's going to have the racing line. Moore's going to get squeezed out there, jumping a bit over the grass. And fair, he didn't actually lose that much momentum, but enough for Cooper to get past.
I'd kind of want to see that on board with Henry Moore as to whether he actually had an overlap on the exit of the corner. But I mean, this race is just crazy. So who knows? Maybe Henry Moore will work his way back up into that position. Might have been squeezed out there from Isaac Phelps. Might not have really had an overlap in all of that. But it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see. 2 laps left to go here at Snetterton. The inside line being taken from Isaac Phelps. The battle for second position. All this. Jason Cooper straight around the outside trying to do something into the hairpin. But it is Henry Moore back down the inside trying to pick up 4th position. No one's switching at the moment. But Jason Cooper has that run on the inside into Palmer's and will pick up a spot on Ronnie Smith.
Oh, he certainly will. These guys are taking some risks, I tell you. We've got this six-way battle for effectively second place. Jason Cooper on the outside as it stands. Got Ronnie Smith on his inside. He's broken late in towards the hairpin. Phelps has made a mistake there, and so is Smith. Smith goes around, and he's lost all those positions, all that hard work he had in the first few laps of this race.
Yeah, and there might be, like I say, a little bit of irritation between the two camps now battling for the final spot on the podium. Henry Moore, Isaac Phelps, Jason Cooper's worked his way through into second position. Race victory is basically in the hands of Dan Moore now. 2 seconds of a lead at the moment, looking comfortable, can just calmly return that car to the checkered flag. There'll be one lap after this one, but the battle for the podium is absolutely on.
Certainly is. Cooper's done well to get back up into this second place, I should say, but this is going to be a difficult one to hold on to. He goes to the hard inside, but as we come onto the bridge, look who's up the inside of him. It's Phelps who gets that second place, and that was a massively brave move. It's so tight on the inside of Brundle's there, but he held his foot in, kept his car on that inside line, and managed to make it stick. Good move there.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Again, for the pair of them, the unbelievable commitment there to send one down the inside. Not too many would be brave to give that one a go, and Isaac Phelps into that second position. So will it be a hold, though? Obviously, we've got one more lap of Snetterton left to go, and there is plenty more opportunities on the run around this circuit. Let's see if Jason Cooper can try something. Maybe Henry Moore has an opportunity left in him. The unbelievable run on the centre straight, though, coming in from Jason Cooper. He'll try and take over that second spot, but he's got to do it around the outside of Richards.
Certainly does. Difficult move. They're giving each other space, but here comes Henry Moore actually for potentially. He's got the inside, the pair of them, not quite, as Phelps holds it onto the inside line. Cooper now to the outside. That's going to open the door once again to Moore to look up the inside. He's got past Cooper. Can he get past the 29 machine of Phelps up towards the next corner, Palmer's?
Yeah, but remember last time we went around the outside of Isaac Phelps, he got squeezed off. Is that going to happen at Palmer's? Does he have the faith? That's not going to happen as they run their way through. It's just about enough space given as they head their way down towards Agostini. Jason Cooper on the left-hand side of the bottom, Henry Moore on the right on those webcams, and Isaac Phelps, the driver that's in second position. There's almost contact on the rear end as Jason Cooper just clips the rear of Isaac Phelps, who still hangs on to second position, and Henry Moore right back apart of this as we head down towards Hamilton.
And he risked it around a corner that they just pretty much had contact with Cooper a couple of laps ago. Moore looking to the inside once more. Phelps goes to the inside to defend that one. Cooper around the outside trying to take Moore once again. This is awesome racing between the two. You have to blink and just miss any overtaking opportunities, I should say. Huge contact off to the left.
Yeah, certainly so. That's Jason Cooper being sent off from Isaac Phelps. There's another driver being taken out there, going through onto the Bentley straight. It is Henry Moore up in the second position. Adam Tompkins now into third. It could well be a switch there for second position as well. Henry Moore with the inside line as they head their way through Brundle and Nelson. A fantastic move from Henry Moore, picking up the opportunities of those around. Adam Tompkins also doing the same. Isaac Phelps will drop back into fourth position, and Franek Sikorsky's also back into the mix. Dan Moore knows absolutely nothing about what has happened behind, because it's been an unbelievable drive, taken over the race lead, checked out into the distance, and now looking extremely strong. It was second in the first race, and now is a race victory, goes from 6th up to the race lead, and bam, that is another race victory, second one of the season from Dan Moore, really bouncing back after that poor round at Donington. Henry Moore will take another podium as Sikorsky just about beats out Isaac Phelps toward the line. Adam Tompkins onto the podium once again for the third time this season.
And that's probably got to be the biggest winning margin throughout the season.
Time.
We've seen such close racing, 2-3 cars battling it towards the line, but this time Dan Moore managed to get that victory done, and it's all because of this huge battle in behind. You see the amount of time that you lose, but Dan Moore got his car in the right time, in the right place at the right time, and managed to take that victory. And he's really trying to give it to Henry Moore as the season progresses. I don't think he's going to be letting Henry get away through this mid part of the season.
I mean, like I say, it was just a solid drive from Dan Moore. Maybe, again, curious to what he's going to say. Maybe he got lucky from those battling so hard behind. Wonder what Henry Moore feels about that incident, of course, with Jason Cooper, as well as the one between himself and, of course, Isaac. But we'll take a look at the finishes there. Dan Moore first place, Henry Moore and Adam Tompkins first, second, and third. Franek Sikorsky in fourth, with Jason Cooper in fifth. Matthew Crisp, Cameron Knowles, Ronnie Smith dropped down to eighth, which of course that spinner Agostini. He still managed to keep himself in eighth, with Jack Badger and Martin Vilk in that 10th position and scoring the final point. Ed Hope, Jordan Groves, we get Daniel Caulfield, Aaron Mensah, Mac Farquhar, Oliver Ettridge, of course Owen Whittle, Isaac Phelps dropped down to 18th. Well, so must have had some penalties to add to his name post-race. Maybe some instant points throughout the run. Of course, William Hope, Crispin Williamson being a retirement from the race, finishing on the list down in 20th spot. Fastest lap going the way of Jason Cooper, and to the extra bonus points for them. And of course, the rest of the drivers being retirements from this race, Simon Ball and Brandon Loudon. Big shame for them. Of course, Simon Ball was looking to try and maybe score that first point. Unfortunately, knocks up a third retirement out of 4 races. Big shame for some, but big congratulations to Dan and Moore taking another race victory before we head our way into the British Formula 4 Esports Championship for our second and final race of the evening. Good one, Matt. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was an awesome race. Once again, we had a huge battle pack up towards the front, and they really, just gave us some awesome side-by-side. What I actually really liked was that move down in towards Brundle. We saw a few times, so many cars really going hard to the left of the track, massive commitment to try and make a move stick. So they've definitely got, a lot of guts in these drivers to try and make these moves.
Do you reckon that will change anyone's approach in the Formula 4 race? Kind of seeing that, maybe thinking, oh, maybe I should go for an aggressive move back down the inside. Maybe I should try something here.
Oh, maybe. They do have more downforce to hold it through the left-handed corner as well. But that was certainly, absolutely crazy to see the amount of commitment that those guys were putting into it.
Yeah, like I say, absolutely love it. Maybe some of the drivers will adjust their footing in the British Formula 4 Esports. Of course, that will be a 7-car reverse grid, as it was in this one. It was Dan Moore who took victory, and I think we're about ready to catch up with him, see how he felt about that one. Unbelievable drive, just kind of picked your way through into the race victory. Dan, second win of the season. Let's just go straight for it. How are you feeling right now?
I'm pretty chuffed, to be honest.
Now, you're kind of discussing it, obviously, how the Donington round, maybe it's affected how you're driving for this one. Clearly, it's affecting you in a positive way, because second and first, great results. Drive like this more often?
Well, I think I'll take that every round, to be honest. Nice consistent points. I think the pace was really good, and, just overall came out on top in most of the races and the little 1v1 battles we had today.
Obviously, we've got a couple of weeks before Alton Park. When does the practice start for that? Because obviously we've had only 1 week between these rounds. Is it literally straight after this, bang, let's get some laps in? Obviously it's a very tricky circuit, that one in Cheshire.
Yeah, it'll probably be, we've got a nice kind of week off, maybe not really a week off. We'll still do a few, obviously some laps every day, just getting that optimal, fastest lap down and down. And then especially the week before the race, we'll just go blitz it on testing and just find every last tenth we can just before the race.
Now, rounds like this, you're showing some incredible speed for the championship. Is Henry more catchable? That's the important question.
I think, in all honesty, in this series especially, you can have a 100-point lead and still be catchable, because all it takes is, 2 bad rounds, and, well, those to start with, they could be your 2 drop rounds. But I mean, the gap between first and second is like 7 points. If you get fast lap, it can be 8 points. Per race, you can gain about 16 points a round, and if your rival finishes second, and the odds are they're not going to finish second every race. So you can easily pull in a lot of points per round here.
Well, I mean, we're just past a third of the way through the championship, so of course, most certainly not over. You're looking great. Second victory of the season for you. Well done. Congrats, and we'll see you again at Alton Park.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Well, we'll also hopefully catch up with Henry Moore, with Adam Tompkins as well, before we get into the British Formula 4 Esports round. Straight away joined by Henry Moore. Didn't get the double, so no, I told you so and all that, but it was a pretty frantic race, that one, Henry. Talk us through that one. Obviously, a couple of incidents.
Yeah, a couple of incidents. I mean, the first one could have backed out, but yeah, I thought the gap was going to appear, never appeared. Second one, I can't really say anything, nowhere to go. Someone just came across under braking, but yeah, really, that was actually a fun race. Despite all the incidents, it was clean for the most part. Lots of battling, so yeah, happy. Just unfortunate Dan got away, but yeah, well done to him.
Are you quite vocal behind the wheel? Do you get, angry? Do you start vocalising any of that anger, or are you quite kind of calm and serene? You looked fairly calm when we sort of saw you through the race.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how bad it is, doesn't it?
Yeah, there is that. So what's the chances of a double next time? Obviously, Alton Park, very different circuit, but once again, insanely hard to pass at.
Yeah, I enjoy Alton quite a lot, to be honest. It's one of my best tracks, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when we get there, and maybe we'll see another victory. It's still 4 for you this season, so best of luck there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you.
And I think finally we'll be caught by Adam Tompkins before we get into the British Formula 4 race. And of course, finalising things from that side. Tompkins, good sir, once again onto the podium for the third time this season. We were kind of curious whether that Brands Hatch form, whether that was the form we were looking for from you this season, or whether it was going to be the Donington form. Thankfully, very, very much the Snetterton, the Donington form. You're looking really strong right now. More podiums to add to the list. More speed from all of it. You're looking really comfortable, it seems.
Yeah, Snetterton's my worst track, so I'm happy I got 4th and 3rd, to be honest. I knew this would be a drop round, possibly, or knockhill. Yeah, looking forward to next race. It's my favourite track, home circuit, Alton, so we should be getting a good result there.
Now, of course, when it comes to racing around Alton Park, have you done both the layouts? Of course, obviously, most of the people probably have driven like the shorter layout going around there, but have you gone out towards the Shell Oils hairpin and done all that, prepared for all of that?
Yeah, it's my favourite layout with the Shell Oils.
Good man.
So, yeah, I think I set a lap record a few years ago with one of the GT3 cars just in practice session. So, yeah, just to put the pressure on me a bit more. It's probably not the best thing to do, but yeah, really looking forward to it. Probably difficult to overtake on, so race 2 will be interesting. But yeah, looking for a really strong result, possibly the win.
Now, when it comes to a circuit which you're feeling confident at, obviously you enjoy practicing around there a little bit more because it's a circuit that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Are you kind of like prepared that you're maybe going to do more practice for this round, or is it because you're so confident, because you're so comfortable around it? Maybe you'll do kind of like less or even the same. Like, how's your approach mentally for that one?
I'll still practice a lot. I think we've got 2 weeks, haven't we, till next race? So we've got a lot of time to practice for that, and for Silverstone for 2 weeks as well, which is the Grand Prix circuit. So no, similar attitude. We know we can get 2 wins there if it goes smoothly. So I'll be practicing as much as I can, even though it's a circuit I know very well. Know very well.
No worries. I can't speak either, and it's my job. But no, well done again. Great results this round, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks very much.
Yes, well, there we go. Formula 1600's done for the week. We'll see those once again back in Alton Park, Cam. But yeah, fun one that. But of course, we've got to get ourselves ready. British Formula 4 Esports. We are back. Second race of the evening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be good with the reverse grid. We saw such a close battle in that first race. I just can't wait to see how they're going to cope with it once again. The tension and the aggression from some of these drivers is really there, but they're so strategic with when they make their overtakes and when they go for those moves. It seems to be working out pretty nicely to give us some good entertainment over the last couple of races. But what we generally see is these sort of top 5, 6, 7 cars. They just sit in this massive train and they just wait for that opportunity to pounce. They just wait for a mistake, wait for something to happen. And even though it's a short sprint race, they almost drive like it's an endurance race where you sort of have to, look for the long game for the race victory.
Now, Stanley Deslandis will be the one starting from the reverse grid pole, of course. Yeah, kind of like watching his positions. Yeah, obviously started up inside that top 4, dropped back to 7, still got that decent result onto the board. What do you think his chances are? Of course, he has won a race last season, which was in a reverse grid. It was in the first round of the season last time. But he did also have a pole position. He had a few podiums, both of them at knockhill. Do you think he can win this race?
Oh, it's going to be difficult to hold on. I tell you what, the drivers that he's got in behind, that is going to be a very, very tricky one. But yes, I think yes, in theory he can. But the racecraft really needs to be there, and he needs to be, defending at the right times, not defending, sort of over defending as such, slowing down, because when you start to do that, you then bunch up the 3rd, 4th car behind you, and then it makes it even more difficult with the pressure. So it's definitely going to be a tricky one. He's got to really play the mental game in this, I think. Yeah,
and like I say, trying to turn around a season which has been a fairly poor start to. We know we can expect more from Stan, and I suspect we certainly will. So we'll talk a little bit about the championship as well. Obviously, Pete Berryman there finishing in 3rd in the previous race, Gordy Much finishing in 2nd. What that actually means is the championship lead. It's 25 points. We were kind of discussing that with Pete Berryman and how mentally it's kind of affected him and how his approaches are. I kind of get the feeling that he is looking really calm right now, and one of the most experienced drivers on the grid, certainly when it comes to racing open wheels at high level, when it comes to winning world championships and stuff. He has done a lot in the world of sim racing. I'm sure obviously the aim is for the title, obviously it is, but I'm sure he's just super calm in that car right now.
Yeah, and what having a bit of a gap like that does to you is it just means you don't have to fight 1,000% for that guy who's coming to do an absolutely crazy overtake on that final lap. You know that you can just give them that position if it really comes to it. Although maybe it's actually negative sometimes because drivers behind know that you're in that situation where you maybe actually take that 1% risk. So it is certainly a very nice one. It just slightly changes your approach, I would say, as the two Williams cars here battling a bit side by side there through a Coram in towards the final corner. Murray's maybe working their way towards the final lap this time.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. When you've like this warm-up, you're not going to find any pace, right? You will not find pace between race 1 and race 2, really. You know, for the most part, you're all just going to you already know what your pace is. You already know what you're aiming for. It is what it is. Most important thing is to keep yourself fresh. That's why they're going out in the warm-up. And why not keep yourself fresh by driving offline, by racing and so on, by understanding what you're going to be doing. Of course, there's no point in just doing laps aimlessly by yourself.
Yeah, it's not qualifying. In a few minutes' time, it's a race, and therefore you need to be, practicing what you're going to be racing, and especially if you can get a teammate like that, where you can really trust their every move, and you know that they're not going to push you off the track. It's a good thing to work out just where your braking zones are, what your sight lines are, what your reference points are coming into certain corners. That's the thing that you really learn, and just get that extra little bit more comfortability.
Well, we can see the starting order. Standard Deslandis will start from pole position with Josh Ladd, Morena Sarika and Matt Caruana. Pete Berryman will start inside the top 5 with a third place finish of the previous race. Gordy Much from 6th, of course. Luke McEwen being one of those that got reversed after that race victory. Remy Gilbert will start this one from 8th position with Matt Emery and Alexander Davidson. Isaac Arperson will start from 11th. We'll let the rest of these roll their way through. Of course, lots of drivers further down here that are way, way out of position. The likes of Ted Bradbury, the likes of Ryan McCarriff, the likes of Josh Poulain, who will find down in 26th position. Some big names way out of where we expect them in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. How much can they work their way up? Can Stanley Deslandis take this victory? Will someone steal it from them? Maybe Josh Ladd's the one who's going to give it a good go. We've got 20 minutes onto the clock. You've got Williams Esports starting from 2nd and 3rd. Stanley Deslandis starting with the race lead. Matt Caruana fresh off his first podium of the season last round at Donington Park, as we all race our way back down into that first corner. Good start from our race leader and pole sitter of Stanley Deslandis as they head their way through. Already instant attacks coming in for the likes of Josh Ladd from Matt Caruana behind. The rest of those will just try and keep their nose clean as Caruana looks straight down the inside. Around the outside though, Josh Ladd's going to go try and take over the race lead. The answer to that question is no.
Oh, there's a further side-by-side crashes in the background. 4 cars all going off the track, and that's not the way that they would have wanted to start. Here's Caruana. He's under attack now. Unfortunately for him, he's got Gordy Much up his inside, down towards Agostini's. It's going to be difficult to hold it around the outside with the late braking that we know the Scottish driver can do on the inside. And we've got the 2 Stormforce cars battling in the background like we saw them do in that first race. Loads of drivers off into the grass as well for this first lap.
Yeah, Caruana was out wide. It has allowed Gordy Much to go through, so he's +2 at the moment on this lap. Now defends a little bit from Caruana as both the Stormforce cars. There was almost contact as well between the pair of those as Luke McEwen was cutting over the nose of his teammate, who was kind of just trying to keep out of trouble. Remy Gilbert behind him. Of course, issues for Guild Racing were one of those teams that had the issues on the first lap. Brandon Abraham's down the road. Sergio Fitzpatrick as well for the Prismatic team. You've got Lucas Mueller and you've got the other Der Esports car down the order of Benedict Hitz. I don't think they're out of the race, but they are certainly dropped right the way down after that early drama. They head their way through Brundle and Nelson for the first time. Very sketchy scenes.
Yeah, you're talking about a 6-way battle for the lead at the moment. Obviously, being the end of the first lap, it's even further more than that. This huge train of cars are slowly split up and separate into a sort of 2s, 3s, maybe 4s, as it's not sustainable to have all those cars. But to finish this first lap, it's going to be Deslandis leading the lap. But how many laps can he do this time around? Just going to be Josh Ladd coming towards the outside in that number 2 Williams Esports machine to try and find a way. But you don't necessarily overtake here. But what you do is you slow down your rival through the apex to try and get the run in towards this chicane. But once again, Josh Ladd looking so calm there. To the outside is going to be Deslandis. To the inside is loads of cars in the background trying to go side by side too.
Yeah, it's looking good for Deslandis, like you say, 2/10 of a lead, but maybe that pressure is going to build through the race. As one of the Aston Martins off, was that Bianca Lilla? I think there was quite a few down in all of that. It was actually Hoffland that was the one taking out that. You've got Tobias Olsen, you've got Alexander Davidson as well for one of the Pure Sims teams. Ryan McCarran, Matt Caruana rather, trying to get back around the outside of Gordy Much, heading down into Agostini. Slow drives off the corner. We'll take a look back on the lap 1 incident down into the hairpin. Of course, this is where we saw the 2 Dirt Esports cars. That was a bit whoa! That was Saoirse Fitzpatrick, I think, straight into the rear. It might not have been, actually. It might have been Rachel Concoli straight to the rear end. Saoirse Fitzpatrick was also joined in all of that, but not a great start for Prismatic or for Dirt Esports.
Wow, yeah, no, it is the number 7 machines. That is Fitzpatrick coming in towards the hairpin and just braking way later than the cars ahead. And unfortunately, yeah, sort of locking up there. Nowhere to go after that point. Just, yeah, set that up in the braking zone, unfortunately going too low late on the brakes. As you say, the two teammates of Dirt unfortunately getting both involved. This is the next time around though. Up the inside there's going to be the number 9 machine. That's of Tobias Olsen. A bit of contact already in the background. Coming in late is the 71 machine there too. So quite a few drivers making mistakes.
Yeah, McAuliffe was also deep into all of that. We'll take a look on board with Ryan McAuliffe. Kind of see all of them sort of jostling for positions. Big send down the inside, way too deep into the Aston Martin. That sense, I mean, I'm not going to blame him for like the second part of that, where you obviously had the incident between Olsen and that, but that was in way too deep.
Yeah, well, certainly. When you go past the driver ahead of the one you're trying to overtake, you know you've broken a little bit too late. It's side by side for the race lead. Josh Ladd once again to the outside, can't make it work. So Deslandis holds on to lead another time round. Sarika is in our 3rd place. So 2 Williams drivers potentially could work together in the background. Zach Caruana are going side by side with Gordy Much, as he's done so quite a few times already this race. He's managing just about to hold on. Much can't find his way through up into that 4th place as that battle continues. Up the inside though, it's going to be for Josh Ladd for the race lead.
Yeah, he's going for it straight down the inside into Agostini. This could be looking really good for Williams Esports as well, because Moreno Sarika is going to try and follow his teammate through. Stanley Deslandis straight around the outside as they go through Hamilton. Now the inside as they get into Oggies. Moreno Sarika has to look backwards because there's that battle between Gordy Much and Matt Caruana. Much around the outside of Caruana as they head through Oggies. Now back onto the Bentley straight. They go through Williams. The lead is to be held by Stanley Deslandis. 5 minutes down in the race, still plenty of time left to go. At the moment, though, we're getting that really dicey fight for that final spot on the podium. Josh Ladd not able to do anything about our race leader.
And nor can Gordy Much on Caruana. He's tried so many times this race, but hasn't been able to. It's all in the background. We see, was that Berryman? Yeah, Berryman and Arvidsson trying to have a little bit of a battle in towards Brundle. That's always a bit of a risky one. We have seen some successful moves, though, in the 1600s in that corner. Just need to be a little bit more careful, potentially, in these cars. They're so on the limit going into there, really pushing hard. So as it stands, so Berryman not looking to get up towards the race lead like he had 1 week ago in this second race. Side by side across the line though, is it going to be finally a move Caruana up towards that 3rd place? He hasn't really looked so far just yet, but not this time either.
Yeah, of course, Caruana's looking for a 2nd podium in his British Formula 4 Esports campaign. Has done obviously the 2022 season and the 23 season. That is a big send straight down the inside, pulls up the apex. Absolutely brilliant from Matt Caruana, straight down the inside of Moreno Sarika. Played that card so well. Didn't lock up, didn't miss the apex, got the up and under, and bam, Caruana into 3rd.
Textbook move, you could say, into that corner, and to be honest, it's just the way that corner is set up as well. You can absolutely love a send down the inside, and as you say, up on towards the podium. Sarika down to 4, so he's lost the contact with his teammate, which is always an advantage to have, as Gordy Much is still in that 5th place, now trying to overtake a separate person who's now up ahead of him. But look at the train of cars in behind as well. You can slowly sort of work your way up the train if you do what Caruana did, but unfortunately it's so difficult to do that every lap.
Yeah, certainly so. And like I say, just trying to piece your way through this one, pick up one position at a time, and maybe you'll get the opportunity for a race victory late on. It's exactly what Matt Caruana's doing. Maybe it's what Luke McEwen's doing. Less so moving forward, more so defending from Remy Gilbert, who's now found himself in 7th position, working his way one up on Pete Berryman, of course, who's got 4 consecutive podiums in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship at the moment. I think the idea of getting a 5th might be a little bit too far down the road, but I think Pete Berryman is more than happy to pick off a couple of decent points. But how many points he's got a lead? 25. Gordy Much I get the feeling it's a driver that's feeling confident to move his way through this field, and if he were to make himself onto the podium, maybe even take that race victory, which is probably a little bit of a stretch, it could be a big game for the JHR by 29 Esports driver.
Yeah, certainly. The issue for Berryman is he's in 8th place. That's only, what, 4 points? So compared to a race win, that's 21 points. That could very easily be a huge change in this championship. So he needs to be careful depending on who wins this race. Of course, if it's someone like DeSantis, who's a little bit lower down, or not so close, maybe potentially you want someone like Caruana to win to try and change that point around. It's definitely something that he needs to consider with how far and how aggressive he goes in towards this second half of the race. But DeSantis still does lead with Josh Ladd in there. Of course, Ladd lower down in the championship than he would have wanted after a few contacts, a few crashes in the opening laps. And we slowly worked our way out to a top 10 train for this league.
Yeah, it is quite the train. Caruana in tow. Obviously, we saw that move on Moreno Sirica. Can he pull a similar sort of feat on Josh Ladd? I think that one might be a little bit more tricky. Stanley Deslandis is playing this card brilliantly at the moment in the race lead. But I get the feeling, based on what we saw from Gordy Much in the previous race, from what we've seen from quite a lot, when you've not got the slipstream yourself, i.e. being the race leader, you're at the head of a train. When you don't have that slipstream, people can close in on you, and there is that potential for a move. We saw it from Gordy Much, how much he was lifting out when we were on board with him. I kind of wonder if Josh Ladd is doing the same, but when he gets that pressure on from Matt Caruana, is there then that sort of like that extra push of, I've got to go for this, straight down the inside, or at least a look as they go through Coram? I could have told you that one wasn't going to work, as Gordy Much might make it through on Moreno Sirica. Oh, wow, that was a big snap. He's going to lose out here going through the final corner.
Yeah, he's going to have bad momentum onto this front straight. So look at McEwen trying to sort of slipstream and drag his teammate down, actually, because Berryman's trying to get involved there. Side by side, they continue across the line, almost 4 wide as we come towards Richie's for his next time around. Side by side for second place as well, but it's going to be Sirica just about holding on to that. I don't know how he did after the bad exit they had, but he's now going to hold it in towards the braking zone for this next corner. Much on the outside, Sirica on the inside, also in behind. You've got to look out for Berryman, who's trying to hold on. So McEwen, I should say. Oh, off in the background though, Much is being pushed off.
Yeah, what happened there with Much is almost as if he just came to a complete stop, getting squeezed out there. It's allowed McEwen to sneak his way through the 4th. It's dropped them 2 seconds off of the race lead as well through all of that. And we're now 3 wide. Isaac Arvidsson in the middle of all of this. You've got Berryman involved, who's going to back out of it. Iverson going to try and send it as he's trying to get past Moreno Sirica. Remy Gilbert also in the mix, picking up his way through the field, which we've seen so many times this season.
Wow, this is a big change to what we saw 1 lap ago. But as it stands, McEwen up into that 4th place, got a bit of a gap to this battle we see now. Sirica, Gilbert, and in behind we've got Arvidsson, who's getting past Pete Berryman. Berryman was looking to gain places like his teammate, but in the end, he's still in that 8th position. Let's look at this one more time. This is Gordy Much. The second car in this train is going to be the outside of the Williams driver of Sirica. Is he going to be pushed to? Is there contact? Is there something a little bit furthermore? Oh yeah, there is contact between the two. Sirica pushes him wide, and then once they make contact, he also can't turn himself.
Yeah, exactly. This thing is that it's kind of, it looks, and I'm sure it would feel probably quite bad from Gordy Much's point of view about how Moreno Sirica was in that one. I don't necessarily blame Sirica that hard for it, really, because I mean, maybe you could say he was squeezing off Gordy Much on the exit there, but it was mostly because there was contact already. Maybe you could say it was Gordy Much started turning in, kind of like going in for maybe a tight line he was expecting. Maybe he thought that Sirica had a bit more of an advantage. Who knows? But the contact there, I'd say, is a bit more like racing incident-y, and it just, as that it's taken the weight off the rear of the car, it's just kind of pushed them both out to the left. Is it more on Sirica's fault, on his shoulders? Maybe, but I kind of get the feeling that one might feel and look much worse than it actually was.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because as you say, as soon as there's the tiniest bit of contact on the rear left of a car that's trying to turn right, they just can't turn right anymore because the car's then trying to rotate the other way. So very, very difficult one indeed. And of course for the stewards to sort out post-race if that ever comes before them in the stewards room. So it's definitely a difficult one, and just shows you how close the racing is, and it's left a big gap in between 3rd and 4th place as it stands. McEwen is leading this train for this top 4, but I think he might just about be closed down, and definitely under attack from Sirica to get back up into that position that he held once earlier.
Yeah, like I say, I think of all of the drivers in this train, the one that can afford to be by far the most patient and let the race come to him is Pete Berryman, who we're presently on board with. Look at how calm he looks behind the wheel. He's like, yeah, cool, I'm in a race. Heart's not really racing. I'm just chilling right now. I'm waiting for my opportunity. Maybe someone's going to cause some drama up ahead. I'll pick up the pieces. That's why I do so well. Obviously, Pete Berryman has had his bit of drama this season. It was in that first race, of course. It was avoiding an incident, or was it touch of contact going through paddock hill? Brands Indy pulled him off to the right hand side. Still was able to get 9th position from the race and looked strong afterwards. So fair enough, got himself onto the podium. But at the moment, we'll see if Caruana's able to work his way through into second. Lad's doing a good job right now. Caruana's, I don't think, 2 into the fight at the moment.
Yeah, the good thing for Berryman is that these 3 drivers towards the front, they're not. Well, I guess Caruana is 4th in the championship, but he's quite a way behind on points. So these, I don't think he minds if any of these drivers win and he finishes down at 8th place. But let's see what Pete Berryman can do in the final few laps of this race. So 4 drivers, in fact, trying to battle for position in towards Palmer's. It's going to be the outside for Berryman as he just about holds on to that one in that 8th place. Arvidsson actually is going to be trying to make a move on Gilbert in towards this hairpin corner. Agostini's now the outside. He's going to have to go. Berryman's going to use the opportunity up the inside. Oh, contact's made. The championship leader goes round.
Yeah, and it will cost him the points. He will not be in the points today. He's got a damaged front wing also. Now out in 13th position before he rejoins behind Tamas Simon. You can see already communicating to the team. Obviously, one of his teammates, Gordy Much, and then you can see he is not particularly pleased.
I wonder if that's with himself or with the drivers around, because I mean, I'd say that's more on him with just how it worked out. The door did open out the inside of Arvidsson, and to be fair, I understand why he went for it, but just unfortunately not getting it stopped in time and making some contact with the back of Gilbert. He is actually quite far behind, isn't he? He's more than a car length behind, diving it in there, locking the rears. He was already way too late on the brakes. You could see that, and yeah, definitely a personal error there. You
could definitely hear it as well. Like once he was just like, he was on the brakes quite late, and you could kind of hear like he was on the very, very limit of that car. I mean, I kind of, like I say, I agree. I'd put more of that on Berryman, but maybe, he was a little frustrated at the others. Probably is a bit more frustrated himself. Why am I taking so much risk battling only for a couple of points? But, it is what it is. Again, that is racing. Back up to the race lead, though. Standing to Landis, Josh Ladd, Matt Caruana. 2.3 seconds off the race lead. About a second and a half off the rear of this is Luke McEwen. Do not count him out. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that gap could go down, especially if these guys start battling. That gap will come down very, very quickly. McEwen does have Sarika all over the back of him, so that gap was about a second at one point, and that's closed up as well, just showing you how it's definitely possible. A bit of a wiggle there from Ladd. It was actually just telling him maybe he's not going to go for an overtake just yet, potentially, because he knows, as we're just mentioning, they don't want to make this into a 5-way battle for the lead in the last 2 laps. They want to be a 3-way battle and just have it a little bit easier for themselves.
Yeah, certainly so. But I get the feeling it might well become a 4 or 5-way fight without their consent. I get the feeling McEwen and Sarika will join this fight. Look at how much it's come down. It's already, it's 2 seconds now for the race lead. McEwen's closing in. He's not quite getting that slipstream. But like you say, as soon as one of these drivers looks for anything, McEwen and Sarika will be there. We look at Matt Caruana on board with him and his face in the bottom right. See how calm he looks going into Brundle and Nelson. Looking pretty composed at the moment. I'm sure that will change. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. That means we have 3 laps left. As Remy Gilbert's had a problems, driver up there in the championship having issues. Arvidsson also involved.
Yeah, and Elliot Pugh coming past for that 8th position as well. Reserve driver for today. Actually having a really nice result up there. Doing a good job. But definitely huge contact must be made at Brundles. Let's see what is going to happen. Is Gilbert on the inside line in the red and blue Guild machine. We've got Arvidsson coming around the outside in the 13 machine. Oh, that is a risky one. Contact is made between the two. And then unfortunately the 2 cars involved, Gordy Much also losing his rear wing in that with the Veloce car.
Well, we got asked if Guild Racing are in this one, and then we saw that ambitious move. And I mean, like I say, got a lot of time for Remy Gilbert, but that was a terrible rejoin. Like really, really poor. Obviously, heart in mouth moment for the entirety of the grid, but yeah, it wasn't great. As we ride aboard with Elliot Pugh, seeing what he could do. Wonder if he's got the cool glasses on. Hashtag deal with it. Well, I had to deal with that one. That was a poor rejoin. There's no way of cleaning that one up. That was just a poor rejoin.
Yeah, that was pretty bad as it goes. Fortunately, the contact wasn't quite as terrible as it could have been. As Caruana's got up into 2nd place, Ladd has dropped down into 3rd. 3 minutes remain in this race. Deslandis also with a little bit of a lead. They're starting to stretch out at the front here.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, very impressive for Caruana, but I say McEwen's now rejoined the fight. It really is a 5-car race for the lead. Deslandis, Caruana, Lads, McEwen and Sarika all involved in that fight. We look at Ryan McAuliffe, who's worked his way inside the points, so things are looking good for Kimura. Hopefully he can keep these points and not have them taken away by more penalties. But as there is more battling in the background, Ted Bradbury, Tamash Simon as well, Remy Gilbert dropping out of the fight and saying no thanks, Mama Biancalilla, off you go as well. I've got a damaged car. I'm going to back out of this one. And unfortunately, I don't think Remy Gilbert's going to be picking up any points. I said Pete Berryman, by the way, was not picking up any points in this race. He's 9th.
Yeah, it does help when there's some big crashes in and around your positions, but as well, he's definitely got a bit of a damage on that front nose, that front wing, looking a bit crumpled, but he's bringing it home with just a couple of laps to go. 9th place, this will be 8th if he can actually come across the line and take that position. He's going to be around the outside of that first corner. Does he have the commitment for that, or is he going to try and do something in towards the second corner? No, it is going to be around the outside. Huge commitment from your championship leader. He wants an extra couple of points. Contact a little bit in the background as well. The Altis car of Bradbury trying to get involved in that, but Berryman with a very committed move.
I think it was Elliot Pugh more actually hitting the curve. It made it look like there was a lot of contact between Pugh and Bradbury, but actually I don't think that was the case. By the way, race lead, 1/10 of a second. Matt Caruana, Josh Ladd. It is absolutely firing up now. Deslandis with a defensive line holds onto the race lead. Caruana straight through as well, trying to hang on to second position, but Josh Ladd for Williams Esports is trying to make it through and try and give himself a chance at the race lead. He has gone out wide though through Hamilton, and Luke McEwen will take 3rd position. Maybe it's time for him to take back-to-back victories in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Of course, the champion of 12 months ago, the 2022 title winner, looking to try and start his campaign now.
Yeah, hasn't had the best first couple of rounds, but this might be the opportunity. And you said just a few laps ago, even in that 4th place, 2-3 seconds off the lead, don't count him out. And this is that very opportunity. In towards the final minute now, so it's going to be one more lap when we get to the line. And he's just got those extra few miles to try and get himself up towards Deslandis, who's been leading the race pretty much from the start. From that pole position, we were just wondering if he could hold on, but so far he can't. The issue for him is Caruana and McEwen in behind. They are the ones who are probably the most aggressive in terms of going for these moves. On towards the final lap, can Deslandis hold on for one more?
I think it's going to be a tall order, but Deslandis has got a lot of pressure building on his shoulders. It's Caruana, it's McEwen, it's Ladd. All three of them start the final lap of the race with just a second between them. Caruana will get to the outside of Deslandis coming into that first corner. He'll try and commit, he'll try and send it through. We've seen these moves work, we've seen them fail though. Caruana's sending it through. Luke McEwen's now looking up the inside. Caruana has to get brave into the Wilson hairpin. Deslandis though playing his cards brilliantly, and it'll be the lead held for Deslandis. Luke McEwen with the up and under though, and it could well be second position for the Stormforce driver.
Around the outside of Palmer's, it's going to be, this is huge. If he can try and do this, it's going to be actually looking for Josh Ladd to come in the background as well to potentially dive up to the inside in the gap that he's going to form. This is going to be Caruana now to the inside. Ladd thinks about making it 3 wide. That's not going to be the best way to make this overtake. And look at McEwen just about trying to squeeze in there, trying to hold on to that 3rd place. Awesome battling, just got to try and find a way through.
McEwen and Ladd have made contact already a couple of times this season. They've had drama plenty. The top 2 in the championship last season. We've said that so many times. They've had battles. They've had drama. They have had certainly some tears throughout the 2023 campaign. But at the moment, it could well be tears of joy for Stanley Deslandis or Matt Caruana. Again, he had his first podium just last week, looking for his first victory a week later at Snetterton.
All early defensive manoeuvre there for Deslandis, so he's absolutely looking in his mirrors. He needs to be careful because you do go a little bit slower with that. Just look how much speed Caruana carried there through Brundles and really now in towards the bomb hole. This is the final opportunity. Get your run in towards Murray's.
Yeah, 5 cars separated by 1 second. A race victory on the horizon and 25 points with it. Stanley Deslandis has not had a good start to 2023. Finished in 7th position in the previous race, got the reverse grid and has led every single lap of this one. This will be a sweet one from Stanley Deslandis. He'll come across the line and will it be a victory? Oh, but he's going to slow down the final corner and it'll be Matt Caruana out of nowhere taking his first victory. I thought that was Deslandis all of the way, but a 1/10 of a second and Matt Caruana steals it for Kimura.
Wow, what a finish there. Caruana slid out the final corner, but still had enough momentum to just about get Deslandis to the line. What a fight between the two of them that we had on that final lap, pushing each other to the limit. An amazing effort for Caruana. To be honest, he really deserves that. He's one of the, the faster drivers in this championship, but he's coming up against some really strong teams, and it's very difficult to get a win. So finally, here at Snetterton, he's managed to get that race victory.
Yeah, penny for the thoughts to Stanley Deslandis. I mean, we're still a penny for it. We'll be able to catch up with him in a few moments' time. But wow, was that close? Unbelievable scenes. Like I say, well-deserved race victor in Matt Caruana. Cam, I mean, talk us through this. This is going through Coram into Murray's. We're on board with Stanley Deslandis here. Mad stuff.
Yeah, let's see. Was it actually a slowdown? Goes a little bit wide there. Yeah, might potentially. I don't know. Potentially.
Was he out of fuel?
Oh no, even worse. Running out of fuel is even worse, I would say, coming to the line, because that is, yeah, I mean, he's done everything he can. He's flat out. You know, he's not having to slow down, but unfortunately the car just spluttering to the end, just one, you know, the 10th of a litre more, and he might have been able to make it finish. Let's see this from Caruana's perspective, though, because he probably wasn't expecting this. It's a fair way out of the corner that DeSantis starts to slow down. He has a massive slide. Right now, he's probably thinking, no, I haven't got this.
Yeah, I mean, you called that slide brilliantly. That single cough. I wonder if even Matt knows that he was running out of fuel. That is wild. I mean, like I say, they're pulling the fuel numbers as close as possible, but I can tell you something. You know, 1 litre of fuel is what? It's 0.7 of a kilo. I can tell you that ain't going to make the difference when it comes to speed. Bung an extra litre in it if you can.
I'm just thinking, maybe they fueled it for being in the slipstream. And of course, he led the whole race, didn't he? Yeah. So there'll definitely be a little bit of extra fuel that he would have burned.
Maybe so. Well, it is going to be Matt Caruana taking that victory. Stanley Deslandis and Luke McEwen rounding out the podium. What was a thrilling round here at Snetterton. Of course, the top 5 separated by a second. Josh Ladd and Moreno Sirica being those 5 drivers. Williams Esports scoring some decent points to close up a little bit on Stormforce, who finished in 3rd and 8th. Of course, Matt Emery in 6th position. Ryan McAuliffe in 7th. Pete Berryman dropping down the order back up inside the top 10 with some solid points, finishing just a little bit behind Ryan McAuliffe. Ted Bradbury and Tamas Simon for Veloce Vexed. Couple of decent points for the Veloce team as well, being 6th and 10th. Then we get those finishing outside of the points. Elliot Pugh, Manuel Biancalilla, Aaron Vasquez, Daniel Parent-Smith getting his first finish onto the board. Took him 6 races to have done so, but congratulations for the Aztec Racing driver. And then every single other driver on this list, retirement. Remy Gilbert, Isaac Arberton, Much, Armstrong, Concoli, Poulain, all retirements from this race. And that is not it. There is another page with yet more retirements. Moreno Sirica was able to pick up that extra point as well for the fastest lap. Davidson, Olsen, Hoffland, Abrams, Fitzpatrick, Hitz, Muller and Chase. A whopping list of retirements. And I'm sure if we were playing this in the real British Formula 4 Championship, which of course wrapped up at the weekend, we'd be dealing with a lot of dollar bills dished out there for damage repair. Thankfully in sim racing we don't have to deal with any of that. We do get to deal with some fantastic results, some fantastic race winners. I will hold off a little bit on the interview because we need Caruana to cool himself down. I'm sure after what has been a very stressful race. We'll hopefully be joined by him now though. Kimura, race victory, and of course a stunning performance. Got that first podium, that duck off your back in the previous round, Matt, and now bouncing back with a race victory. I mean, your emotions now must be unreal.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that, to be honest. That race was it was pretty dangerous, like really close racing, but yeah, I'm happy to take it away, and I got a bit lucky, to be honest, with stand on the line, so yeah, but it was a good race overall.
I mean, over that final lap, was there any kind of like big opportunity for you, or were you just like pushing it as hard as you can? Stanley was defending as well as he possibly could. Like, was there an opportunity where you thought maybe I could have done something more?
I mean, on the last, he was like 4 attempts ahead of me or something, and you can't really go in for a move there. So I was just sitting behind. Obviously, I had Luke behind me, and I didn't really want to let him get too close. So I was happy with second, but then I got lucky, to be honest. So.
Now, again, reading some points and stuff about what's going on. That result, as far as we're aware, puts you into second now in the championship, just 17 behind Pete Berryman. You had a bit of a struggle in that race. Obviously, we've got 2 weeks off now, a lot of time to think before we head into the round, which will push us over the halfway point of the season. Yeah. Championship, are you confident that you can beat someone like Berryman, or are you just not thinking like that right now?
I mean, like people like Berryman, they're rappers, you know, they're consistently fast, consistently at front. So, I mean, I'm happy to be up there, and it's at this point it's about consistency, just putting in good results, and you know, when things happen like that where Berryman doesn't have a good race or other people are behind, then yeah, it helps a lot. So.
Well, it is 5 consecutive top 5s from you at the moment, which I think is the only driver to have that at the moment. Looking like you've got some incredible form on you. Matt, have a good evening. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Well done on the win.
Cheers, boys. Yeah.
There we go. Unreal performance as of the last few rounds from Matt Caruana, and a very, very well-deserved victory. Finished 4th in the first race this evening, and of course a victory in the most recent one. We're joined now by Stanley Deslandis. I mean, you've got to be heartbroken at the moment. I don't want to dig into it too much, but give us your emotions right now.
Yeah, heartbroken, to be honest. I mean, season's been pretty bad this season. I literally haven't finished a race inside the top 10, so I mean, overall, I could take the positives away and just say I'm happy with the points, but didn't put enough fuel, obviously. I thought I put 15 litres at the start of the race, but obviously didn't. And going into the last corner, I realised I'm probably going to spit across the line. So tried to save a little bit into the last corner, but yeah, it wasn't enough, and I was spitting across the line. Was there any other point in the race where you were aware that you might have been low, or was it literally just going into that final section? Literally last lap, to be honest, just last lap. Because maybe if I knew earlier on when I had a gap, I could have saved a little bit, and I could have managed it way better. But yeah, I realised at the last lap, crap, I haven't got enough fuel. So, but
I think the important thing is to take the positives for this round. Of course, you qualified brilliantly, you had great pace and didn't put foot wrong in this race. Do you think these are the kind of rounds that turn your season around? Of course, we've got that couple of week break before we go into Moulton Park. We know you go well at places like Knockhill based on last season. Yeah, it's a confidence boosting round, surely still.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Yeah, to be fair, last 2 rounds have been feeling pretty crap. Just haven't been able to bring up results and been involved in incidents race after race. Which I felt like my teammates Pete and Gordy had the side of that today, because if you're not in the top 5, top 7, the fighting at the back is very hard to survive, and yeah, it's very easily to get taken out.
Well, Stan, still a very solid effort. Win just almost in reach, but unfortunately that slight mistake. It is what it is, but yeah, have a good one. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time, and maybe we'll see this form carry on.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Again, more great results, but more drama, which we've had a fair share of this season. We'll be joined finally by Luke McEwen, who had an unbelievable round, of course. Not quite as crazy as Pete Berryman's last time. I thought there might have been the double-double. Yeah, maybe you would have taken that race victory. It was close, though. I mean, did you think it was possible, or is it just too hard to overtake at Snet?
I mean, I think it was possible. I was just kind of content with third, with how this series is. Every point you can get is good. So yeah, I mean, Stan drove really well. It's just unfortunate what happened at the end. It's just heartbreaking that. But I mean, overall good rounds. Obviously not great for Pete since he got in trouble behind, but yeah, not bad for myself.
Are you in communication with your teammates all the way through the race, or is it literally just sort of like you chat a little bit beforehand and then you mute up going into the race and just focus?
I mean, we are communicating during the race, trying to work together as best as we can. But yeah, like I said, it's really difficult, but we try our best.
Obviously, we've got 2 weeks until Moulton Park. What are you doing with that time? Are you relaxing, or is it literally just, right, tomorrow morning, wake up, straight into the sim, straight into preparing for Moulton Park, or is there a bit more to go?
Nah, definitely a bit of break. It's been a lot of racing recently, so probably take a bit of a break and then straight back on it, yeah.
Well, we'll see what you come back with in Moulton Park. We'll see you there. Cheers, Luke, and again, amazing round.
Thanks.
There we go, Cam. Our finishes up there. Again, amazing stuff. Great to see that win for Matt Caruana. Big shame for Stanley Deslandis, but Caruana's closing in on Pete Berryman. 17 points. Wild.
Yeah, it can definitely swap around very quickly, and that's why Pete Berryman, after that interview, definitely knows the situation that he is in. Just with the chaotic racing that we have, if you have a spin like that, you can easily lose some points. And also with the reverse grid as well, it doesn't matter if you win the first race, if you go back to 10th place, if we end up getting a 10th place, you can easily get caught up in accidents. So it's definitely going to be a very difficult one as we get to about a third of the way through the championship. Now, it's going to be a long way until we get to Brands GP.
Now, yeah, obviously there's the question. Dana Moore thinks Henry Moore is catchable in the Formula 1600s. Pete Berryman showing that maybe he is catchable. Obviously, everyone's kind of expecting they're going to have a bad round at some point in the season. It's just about making the best of those bad rounds, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're never going to have a completely consistent championship. Is so difficult to win every single race, and especially as qualifying is so important. So yeah, to be honest, any of the gaps at this point can be closed down. We've only had 3 rounds, with 5 to go. There's, those points can easily be, flipped and reversed back.
Of course, we've got 2 weeks until the next round, Cam, before you get to put up with all of our nonsense in your ears for another couple of hours of racing. But next time we're going to Walton Park, we're going to Cheshire. Absolutely love this track. Genuinely one of my favourites in the UK. It is tight, it's twisty, it's difficult, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, it really is, and I can't wait to see how these cars go around there. Definitely done a couple of broadcasts on Friday Night Primetime with these cars at this track, and they generally race really, really well. It's a proper, high speed, high commitment sort of track, and that's what these cars love with the extra downforce, especially on the F4s. But also for the 1600s, there's some long straights for some nice racing there. So yeah, definitely looking forward to 2 weeks' time.
And of course, we'll be racing down into that hairpin as well. Should be a lot of fun. We cannot wait to see you. Obviously, a couple of weeks until we go racing at Alton Park. From myself, Lewis McGlade, from Cam Roger, and of course, behind the scenes, bringing you this broadcast, Connery Maddock, and all of our partners here on Racespot TV. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for the British F4 Esports Championship. Until then, though, have a very warm goodbye.